to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 162. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight, I'm joined by almost our entire cast, at least everyone who usually shows up, and then some. Let's go ahead and start off with our opening question. The opening question tonight is, if you could have a themed wedding, what would it be? Chris?
Oh my God. I absolutely would. Because the way we got married was like a big middle finger to our family. It wasn't themed. Well, that could have been the theme. That was the theme.
That was the theme.
That was the theme.
was-
Just a giant middle finger.
The establishment, we're doing what we want.
I think I would do a few different things. One would be a very woodland elven wedding and like a really cool tree, like sequoias and the moss and the birds and the whole, not near me, but like around. And I'm wearing a very like ethereal, I'll even do the fucking elf ears. Like sorry, my dog's mad at me. I'll do the elf ears, I'll do it all. Or I would do a full like Addams Family wedding, like do like almost like a full goth.
Oh,
Like
that would be awesome.
I think like black
That'd be
wedding dresses
so
are
good.
gorgeous, or like a deep red wine wedding dress is so beautiful. So I would do that and like really, not like in a morbid, macabre way, but just in like a really Victorian, gorgeous gothic way.
In a beautiful Victorian macabre way. I love it.
I'm not gonna have like creepy taxidermy animals and shit everywhere, but like, candles and or I would do a wizarding world, but it would not be Harry Potter. It would be more Fantastic Beasts, 1920s.
Okay.
That
Like,
I would have figured you were going to say Harry Potter first off. That would have been my initial guess.
that's what he was thinking. He's like, I already know.
I was
know.
thinking Lord of the Rings first and then Harry Potter second. So
those were
So
going
I
to be my
know
guesses.
Yeah. So that's why
Oh.
you got married again. We'd probably do one of those three.
Ray, what about you?
Yeah. What about you?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And everybody has to bring their own towel.
Nice. Nice.
Are you wearing a bathrobe?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm down for this. This sounds great.
And then Marvin would marry us.
Nice. That would be fantastic.
Okay. I thought you were going to say like Star Wars or something.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, Hitchhiker.
Joseph?
Futurama, and I would want the Space Pope to marry us.
Oh my God, yes.
The space boat.
So
That's
I'm assuming everyone would be dressed as characters, or just like dressed in
Yeah,
the style,
what
or
would you be dressed as?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would have to be Leela?
You could pull her off.
Oh, absolutely.
The one eye might be tough.
I was gonna say you just have glasses with just one big eye.
Yeah.
Get Chad a lizard costume, and you can
Oh
get
my
Space Pope.
God.
Nice. Lainey?
I mean, much to the surprise of no one, I always had a hard time deciding between two specific Disney themes, but they're attraction themes. So one would be full Tower of Terror wedding. Like
Okay.
1920s Hollywood, very kind of macabre, but like with all that beautiful, like really lush like all the really pretty linens that they have within I don't know. I think that would be so beautiful. And do like a very 20s inspired wedding dress. Like I think that would be incredible. Plus, if you do it there, it's like the prettiest backdrop. Or in fact, when we were planning our wedding, I almost went with this, an enchanted tiki room themed wedding. I wanted to do like very 60s tiki kind of vibes, almost like Trader Sam's, the bar, like lots of Adventureland influences, tropical bird stuff everywhere, big tropical flowers, kind of that vibe, and do almost like a 60s kind of a inspiration for like dresses and suits and stuff. So
Nice.
yes, we almost had an enchanted tiki room wedding, and I just wasn't going to tell you.
What about you, Sean?
I know everyone thinks I'd go to the Star Trek theme, but
Which
I've
would be
seen
fantastic.
the Star Trek weddings are stupid.
They are doing them though.
They are no. Anyway, no, mine would be close to Chris's with the redwood forest kind of thing, except mine would be winter themed.
Ooh.
Lots of snow and all that. But the only criteria I really wanted though, and I didn't get for my own wedding, was I wanted McDonald's to cater it. Like I wanted that stack of McNuggets and like fountains of barbecue sauce and all. Oh,
That would be
Heaven.
fantastic.
yeah. So like Ronald McDonald like hosting it, that'd be awesome. Like
I
all
can
the
just-
fry guys in tuxedos.
You just have the inside the chocolate fountain. It's just their barbecue
sauce.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think I would want Grimace to officiate.
that he's very calming.
That would be
I
cool.
can see him do it. Yeah.
Could you have breakfast there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
McDonald's
good.
serves breakfast all day long. Whatever.
Not here
But
anymore.
I really wanted the McNugget Tower though.
The McNugget Tower would be awesome.
Yeah.
What about
If
you?
I were doing small, it would have to be out in front of the firehouse. We'd have to do a Ghostbuster thing, and it would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would just have to. It would. How awesome would it be that literally, like, as you say, you're married, all of a sudden, they have to roll out the fire truck and have that going. That would be fantastic.
Oh no, I was gonna like you get slimed.
Oh no. But all honesty, as cliche as it is, if I were going to do a big wedding, I'd have to go Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
the end of A New Hope, fucking everyone standing up and fucking Ray would be like it would be great, and then walk out. Because yeah. So I had Star Wars play whenever we walked out at my actual wedding. So that also kind of pulling us back into that. So, but yeah, yeah.
There's one addition that I just thought of that I think would be a blast. Spaceballs.
Oh, Spaceballs would be fantastic.
Spaceballs the movie, and then you could sell Spaceballs the movie, wedding merchandise, and yeah, like you're watching now.
I also had an additional thought because I was such a huge fan of the X-Files growing up. Like Mulder, she would be Scully.
That would be fun.
The party would be a different monster of the week.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Nice. I can already see the napkins, Ray. It would be, Spaceballs, the wedding, the napkin.
I think.
Be a hell of a lot of printing, but it would be fun as hell. So tonight's episode's a little different than most of the episodes we do. We have done some special event episodes before. Usually whenever we are able to get some of the members of the show together and, we have something going on, we talk about it. That's what tonight is. We've done it for like some of the Geeks weekends that we've done. We used to do it when we did the live events at what used to be Geek Fest, now EGX. And then, of course, when the Andrews came down to visit me for my 40th birthday, that was 5 years ago. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, and so tonight is another one of those special events because unless Jen drags someone else onto the show and they permanently join us and then they get married, I don't see this ever possibly happening again.
You're messaging Jen right now if you're talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tonight's episode, we're going to talk about Joseph and Lainey's wedding, mainly because there were some of us involved in that little adventure-oo. So, like I said, it's one of those episodes we're just going to kind of talk about what happened because there was a lot of stuff that happened leading up to this wedding. So I asked everyone beforehand, how far back do we want to go? We decided perhaps start at the proposal. So, what was that like?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Well, let's go back even further.
Okay.
On Tuesday, December 27th, 1983.
Oh, God.
At 5:40 in the morning, little baby Joseph was born.
A little too far.
It was during COVID.
Yeah, because we weren't seeing a lot of people.
Early,
and Eugene were in our little bubble.
Early Rona. Right around snowpocalypse time. I had been telling her for a while, When I am ready, I will let you know, hey, I can afford the ring. Because I was 100% dead set on I'm not financing the ring. That is dumb. I was going to pay for the ring outright. And then it was, I want to say it was during Snowbit. Like one day I'm just sitting there checking my bank account, looking at some stuff, moving some things around. I was like, wait a minute. Like, as long as her ring is within this kind of price range, like I can make this happen. And then later that
It was April.
April, we drove up to Dallas. We went to a place called
Or
Tree
maybe
Gem.
it was March. I don't remember. It was in the spring though.
Yeah. We went to a place called Tree Gem, and she designed her ring. And
I was, again, as a surprise to no one, I was extremely sure of exactly what I wanted in terms of my ring.
yeah,
I know.
I got a lot of shit from people I worked with, and like,
I got a lot of
you're
shit
not gonna
from
just buy her the
people.
ring, and I was like, why?
I got a lot of shit from people because everyone was very much like, well, you get what you get, Lainey. Like, you don't get to. I was like, well, he loves me and he wanted me to have a say in the thing that I was going to wear for the rest of my life. I was like,
I designed my engagement ring kind of. I gave him inspiration. I was like, this is what I would like. This is the thing.
As someone who has given his wife a ring, or no, it was a bracelet that she did not like. And if you are listening to this, and what I'm saying is, if you're listening to this, if you have the opportunity to take the person you're interested in to help them help design it, number one, that becomes part of the story. Becomes more meaningful because it's something that you have come together, but also is going to save you a lot of headache down the road. Because thanks to them, and I do thank y'all for finding the place that y'all found, because otherwise I would have gotten out. Probably it would have been so much worse for me whenever I got her 20-year anniversary ring. But yeah, so we went to the same place and did it, and she had fun picking out and everything and all the good stuff. But yes, if you're listening to this, by whoever was giving you shit, Joseph, fuck them.
Yeah, you got a lot of shit. I got a lot of shit. Everybody was assuming that I was just being a brat and being really ungrateful. I was like, no, I just have been thinking about this my whole life. Yeah.
You only plan on doing this like to enjoy the vista.
Well, not only that, she had a very specific image in her mind. And when we sat there and designed it, it was like a week later, they sent us a 3D rendering. She didn't like it.
Yeah.
She had to change.
There was like one little feature that in my head I thought I wanted, and then when I saw it in the mock-up, I was like, no, that's wrong. I don't like it.
And then even changing the metals, because originally it was going to be like this, like more pinkish rose gold, and then when it turned out to be in.
Well, no, we did this gold, but we did the platinum prongs on it because I thought I didn't want to be able to see them on the actual stone, and then they sent it to us, and I didn't like it. I thought it looked cheap because it was two-tone, and it bothered me, and it was a whole thing. So, but I remember driving home with him after, like, I had known about this place. I was very interested in getting a ring from them because they are very socially conscious. It's a women-owned business. And I'm very big on like what they're doing. And when I remember when we were driving home from there, he told me, he was like, I'm actually really glad that we did this. He goes, because there were questions that they were asking that I would have not known the answer to. Like, exactly. Like, there's things that there's stuff that I hadn't even thought about until they had asked me, and like I had to try on a few different options before I settled. Now I did end up getting the ring that I had originally wanted because your girl knows what she likes, but yeah. So we had already picked it and he had already bought it. So I knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Then I just didn't know when.
The thing about it is when we left that day, I asked the girl, because she says, do you want to pick it up or do you want to have it shipped to you? And I was like, I don't trust the mail. Let's have it picked up. And
okay, old man, I don't trust the mail.
No, I totally agree. That is way too much money to be putting into the damn mail.
Well, there's a follow-up to the I don't trust the mail part. Anyway, so we had called her cousin David, who lives in Dallas, and was like, hey, when this is ready, you mind going to pick it up for us? I'll put you down as someone that's like authorized to pick it up, and then I will just lie to Elaine and say I'm going to work and just drive to Dallas instead, because the time it would take me to get to Dallas, get the ring, and get back would have been the same time as my work day. So she would have never known the wiser.
That's fair.
Right? Comes later. Turns out I did not do that at all. I had it shipped to my aunt and uncle's in Round Rock. So one day on my way home from work, I stopped and I picked it up. And I opened the box, showed it to my aunt. She thought it was amazing because the ring box itself has LED lights in it. So when you pop it open, it shines onto the ring.
Yeah, it's really
the presentation is fantastic from this company. I will be honest.
Yeah,
it's good.
And then I had put it in the door panel of the driver's side door of my truck, and then I left it there because I forgot that I had it.
Ring in your truck?
It was there for like 2 days, and then I went to go pump gas, and I was throwing something. I was like, "Oh shit, the ring is still here." So I came home from work one day, and I had it in my lunchbox. And I would usually when I come home from lunch, I get the stuff out of my lunchbox in the dishwasher and everything like that. Waited for her to get distracted, and I went and hid it in the game room. And in our old house, there was maybe 6 feet of separation between in the hallway, the door to the game room and the door to the master bedroom. And for 4 days ish, I think, it was sitting in a not very good hiding spot. Like if you could picture, here's the ring, I put something like this in front of it. You know, it was like
but it was an envelope, and there was all kinds of stuff in there that like was his from when we moved in together that I just didn't think anything about.
Conspicuously hiding.
Yeah.
Or conspicuously hiding.
It was pretty conspicuous, but I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah. So and then we were planning to go to Chad and Sam's for like a Memorial Day barbecue. The year before last, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't last year.
It was right around my birthday because so we went, me and Joseph and Eugene went to the Renaissance Festival the Saturday before my birthday as like it's my birthday, let's go do something fun. I want to go to the Ren Fest. So we had gone and done that, and then on the way home we were gonna we just stopped by Chad and Sam's. And then like the next weekend
we were going to Chad and Sam's for they were doing pool and like hot dogs and
I got scared and thought that he was gonna propose to me there.
Well,
because there was a lot of people there that I didn't know.
Yeah.
You were there, Eugene. It would have been weird because it was Christy and it was my nephews and it was my brother-in-law and, you know, all these people and Chad and Sam, who I love so much, but it was also some of their friends who have never met me. So
I just the way you phrased it. I was scared he was going to propose.
I didn't want to propose to in front of a bunch of people I didn't know.
So
didn't you do
so instead?
Yeah, it was before that. We were supposed to go over there for Memorial Day on that Sunday. It was
for a hot second. I thought he was going to propose to me on the way home from Ren Fest because we were stopping at Chad and Sam's, and I was like, "Is this it? Is everyone to be there? Is this it?" And then I walked in, and it was just Christy and my nephews at the pool, and I was like, "Okay, it's not
it." So the Saturday the day before we go to this thing, we were planning to go to Eugene's later that evening for something.
For games.
Probably from games, yeah.
Games.
But so I'm there. I am playing. Pretty sure I was playing Jedi Fallen Order. I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing.
And like we had spent this like really nice day together. It wasn't anything like out of the ordinary. He had gone up to the school with me to go help me move some things because my classroom was being moved, and we had done that. Then we had like gone to the grocery store. We had just had like one of those very like normal but really nice days. Like it was just we just had a really good day.
Yeah. But I was either playing Jedi Fallen Order or Spider-Man.
And I wanted to take a nap.
And she was trying to take a nap. And I was shouting at her having this conversation.
Oh my God.
Like, so when I do it, how do you want me to do it? And just questions like that over and over and over again. Eventually, she's just like, either come in here and talk to me.
No. What I said was, are you asking me to tell you how to propose to me? And he was like, well, no, I just want to know, like, is there something like specific that you want? And I was like, oh my God, Joseph. I was like, 1, please leave me alone. I really just want to go to sleep. And 2, I was like, stop thinking about it so much. I was like, just do it. Like,
And
just
by
when you
this
want to
time,
do it, just do it.
by this time, she's laying on the bed, not even looking at me, and I am kneeling down at the foot of the bed, having this conversation with you. Stop eating the tree.
He can't stop eating the tree.
I'm gonna
Daddy,
hit him with the candy.
no. You want me to get him? Sorry.
Edit this part out. Animal cruelty.
Yeah, edit.
Get out of there.
He's tapping him with a candy cane. And Barley's just like,
No tapping, nothing. It broke, so now I have to eat it.
That's the rule.
Yeah. Anything. Anyway, I'm kneeling at the foot of the bed, telling her this.
this on the podcast.
I got candy cane all over my computer.
Oh my God! Tell the story.
And finally, I was like, "All right, fine. Then I'll just do it." And I took the ring. I was like, "Will you marry me?" And she got up. She looked at me, and the first words out of her mouth were, "Shut up."
That sounds about right from Lainey.
Yeah.
Well, he's just like at the foot of the bed, and I have rolled over. I am like chill. I was straight chilling. I was snuggling with the cat. I was enjoying myself. Everything was great.
And then you ruined it.
And then he's just in there, and I think you came in the room, and I was like, "Oh my God, what?" I'm Joseph. I really need to take a nap. I'm so unbelievably tired. And he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna ask you then." And then he gets on one knee.
And she tells me to shut up.
Because it was wild. He's just sitting here with the fucking ring in his hand. I was like, "Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. That's not real. Shut up." And then he's just kind of looking at me. He's like, "Oh, are you gonna say yes?" I was like, "Well, yeah, yes, but is this real?" And then I wouldn't touch it. Like, I was afraid to touch it. It was a whole thing. So
like it was going to meld to your finger and you were immediately just going to be enslaved for the rest of your life.
Something. I don't think I thought it was really real. I don't think I thought it was actually happening because I figured that you had a bigger plan. But I think it was, I mean, the way that it worked out was kind of perfect because Joseph literally can't keep anything from me.
I gave her one of her Christmas presents yesterday or Friday.
Yeah. Like he can't deal. He has to, he gets so excited to tell me something or give me something that he can't. When you gave me my smartwatch, you gave it to me like 3 weeks early.
Yeah.
Like he just can't do it. I got him. You talk. Jesus Christ.
If we have like this tinsel garland around the bottom of the tree, and now Barley has decided we're not paying enough attention to him, so he's just like,
nice.
Yeah.
Because cat.
Anyways, that's the proposal story. Then
So that's the proposal.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think
Christy was in the bathroom, and so I had to bang on the door to show her.
Sorry, now my cat's decided I'm not paying enough attention to him. Yeah, I think the response from here was about time.
Yeah.
Like we knew it was coming, it was just when.
Yeah.
Okay, I called my mom and she didn't answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
and then texted me and was like, "Is this important?"
It's important. Oh, it's fine, Ma. Never mind.
Uh-huh.
No, I remember when you video chat. I'm like, that's weird. They're video chatting. I guess it's like a random hour of the day. And then you're Chris, come here. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I see this, and then I scream.
Nice.
I do remember that.
Everyone was very excited.
Yeah.
It was fun. So yeah. And then that was the whole thing. And then it was the rest of the evening was me and Christy sitting there talking about wedding stuff and me driving her up the wall because she would be like, "Well, what about this?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's literally just happened. I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Squishing him.
So you definitely weren't one of those that was like already had everything already planned since you were a little girl, however you wanted everything to go.
No, I think I had I don't want to say every, because not every person does, but I had thought about a wedding in the way that a lot of kids think about weddings, in a very abstract way of you go to a wedding or you see weddings on TV. And I had thought of what I had wanted, but the idea of my wedding from the time that I was 10 to the time that I was 16 to the time that I was 21 to the time that I was 25 had changed drastically. And so now actually staring down the barrel of it, it was totally different. And I also, it was really important to me that you saw him in the wedding as well. I didn't want it to just be all my vision and all my thought and everything that I wanted. I wanted him to have like an active say in everything. I didn't want him to be the groom that shows up day of the wedding and is like, oh yeah, this looks nice. Like I didn't, I wanted him to like know what was going on.
Now, did I say that? Absolutely.
Well, yes, but we all said that.
Changed.
Yes. So, but I mean, you were very active in the process. We picked out the colors together. No?
I'll wait for you to name more.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying we picked out the colors together. We went and did the venue. Like we picked
You're
the
very
venue.
active. You picked out the colors.
The end.
But I will
Period.
say, it was definitely very obvious to me while we were planning the wedding how much of the onus of planning is really put on the bride.
Yeah.
Because like there were things that I was thinking about and stuff that I was researching, and I would get so frustrated and come to him and be like, I feel like I'm constantly thinking about this thing and you're only thinking about it when I bring it up. And then I was like, oh, well, of course you're not thinking about it. You've never been made to think about any of this stuff before. So it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of me curating a lot of things and then really needing his input to make a decision on stuff. So, but I would say like when it really came down to it, a lot of the choices that we made felt really authentic to us, like the food, the venue, all of that.
Yeah.
So I will say that I have learned that I do not like planning events that are centered completely around me.
No, not your forte.
Not exactly, no. Especially things like big. I just like, I'll say this, like before we get into like the day of, it is absolutely insane to me how much pressure is put on a couple involving their wedding day.
Yep.
You spend upwards of a year planning this day that you really, at the end of the day, have no real control over. Even if you have made all the right decisions, even if you have put all the right things into place, things can still completely change and it can look completely different. And so I just wish that there wasn't so much pressure on brides, especially to like, on this your most special of special days. Like,
yeah,
it's like, it's just so much. And so you're almost like conditioned to when something changes to be disappointed. And then if you're disappointed, you're painted as this awful bridezilla, which I don't know if I would have characterized myself as would you have called me a bridezilla?
You're only bridezilla if you actually start yelling at people. As soon as you raise your tone voice, you're bridezilla.
Yeah.
I don't think I really yell. I mean, I yelled at you.
Well, okay, so
That
there's lots of different degrees. Like, so what happened at your wedding is not just a small degree of change. We're not talking about like, well, I picked the sterling white and it's an off-white and now everything's just ruined because all the roses are wrong. That's bullshit bridezilla stuff.
Yes, that's bridezilla.
Yes.
So before we get to the day, though, I've often wondered what made you guys choose that specific date.
Oh, good question.
We wanted to get married in the fall because this sounds so silly, but that is the season that we fell in love. Like we fell in love with each other in the fall. The first day, I think the day we told each other we loved each other for the first time was in November.
It was
November,
right after
Halloween.
No. Oh yeah. Right after Halloween.
The weekend after.
Yeah, 'cause the first time that we decided that we wanted to like give it the old college try and actually put a label on things was in the fall. It was, matter of fact, it was right after a con. Eugene, remember when you had only met me once and then you stayed at my apartment in Austin?
Yes.
That was right after that. Yeah.
Well, because I had talked to Eugene about it at the con. I was just like, I don't know, because I think I called you my boyfriend to someone, and Eugene just looked at me and he's like, boyfriend. And I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, I think I'm just gonna try it on and just like see how it feels. And he was like, okay, dummy. Like,
I don't remember.
I think you like him, so stop being weird about it.
Yeah.
Con is in the
Sounds
fall.
like me.
I don't remember what it was.
Was it Wizard World?
Yes, it was a Wizard World because I have to. You guys were driving to the convention center.
Yeah.
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 But no, So we very much like wanted to have it in the fall. I mean, the first time I met your family was Thanksgiving. Like everything has kind of happened for us in that particular season. It is our favorite season. We love the fall. And normally in the valley, the fall is really pretty. The weather cools off a little bit. It's not god awful hot, but it's still very pleasant to be outside. You know,
it was pleasant to be there. It was,
it was.
As an added layer, um, when I proposed, so we're a think group. So, and she was still working at a school in Texas. And that Saturday was the right before Thanksgiving.
Yes, that
so
had a
all of her
lot.
teacher friends would go
Yeah.
on break. Like it was easier.
That had a lot to do with our decision because my whole thought was like, perfect. We get married that Saturday, and then everyone could, if people can travel to see us, great. If not, that's the one thing that they do, and then they get to go home and enjoy Thanksgiving. All of my teacher friends won't have to like come down and then drive back up and go to work on Monday. Like we weren't necessarily making decisions for other people, but we were really trying to be considerate of others, especially those involved in the wedding. Like we really did want to be as accommodating as possible.
Yeah.
You know, that was really important to both of us. So, because so much of our wedding party had to travel.
And then I had to move to Denver.
Yes. Then January, I mean, we had picked out the venue over the summer. And then that January, he got a call about a job in Colorado.
That January, we went to a wedding in Round Rock for my cousin. We drove down to the valley to go to a wedding fair, started picking a whole bunch of stuff and kind of narrowing it down to certain things. And then like 2 weeks later, hey, we're offering you this job. You have to move to Denver. Cool.
Yes, which let me make sure I explain this part to anyone who's listening. So they lived in Central Texas, here where I'm in Killeen. They were having the wedding literally at the tippy bottom of Texas. It's about a 6-hour drive from here, which is where Joseph's is from, which makes sense. And then they moved to another state. So literally, not only are they now planning a wedding that was going to be 6 hours away, now they're planning a wedding that's going to be in another state. I mean, granted, his family's there, but still, it's like, okay, a little bit of a separation here from where we are to the actual event.
Yes.
Yeah, funny side note, whenever I tell people here that I'm from South Texas, they all say El Paso. I'm like, no, you got to go like another 1,000 miles south.
It's like that there's like a whole other half of the state, right?
Yeah.
So if I usually tell them San Antonio and then add 350 miles, and then you'll get to where I am, where I'm at.
El Paso, that's West Texas. Jesus, that's whatever.
You don't know. They're like, oh, like out towards Big Bend. I'm like, oh Jesus, all of you mountain heads. That's all you ever think about.
I thought that was just like tacos, El Paso.
Yeah.
No, it's an actual place.
Yeah, cool. You learned something.
It's literally from where I live. It's literally halfway to Las Vegas. Like if I were to drive from here to El Paso, double that and I'd be in Vegas. That's how freaking far it is.
That's the other thing is when people find out that we're both from Texas up here, they assume that we grew up in the same place or at least reasonably close to each other. And I'm like, no, Joseph and I grew up 4+ hours away from one another in what felt like two completely different planets.
Yeah.
So
South Texas is its own little country.
Yeah, it really is.
Hell, almost every part of the state is its own freaking country.
Actually,
yeah, Jen and I got stereotyped on the way back. That was hilarious.
How?
Oh, they're white. It's fine. You're going.
Oh, you didn't get stopped at the border patrol. Yeah.
They didn't even
before we transition to the day of, in the editing of this, can you put like one of those Law and Order, like dun dun, it says day of.
No, I'm not editing. I don't edit this show anymore.
So stupid.
Which is why we
Sorry,
started.
listeners.
All right, so the planning of this event. So we're coming up on it. We're trying to figure things out. Some little spices I'll throw in there. It was pretty much determined Did you decide that Christy was going to be your maid of honor before you decided the boys were going to be part of the wedding, or was it the same time, or was it afterwards?
I think it was the same time. I
Okay.
couldn't imagine getting married without my nephews being a part of it. Like when Christy and Eugene got married, my little cousin Dylan, Christy's little brother, and I were both in the wedding as like junior bridal party members. So like I got to be a junior bridesmaid, Dylan was a junior groomsman, and it meant everything to us. Like it was a nice way to be, like we were both too old to be ring bearers and flower girls, but too young to be actual like bridesmaids or groomsmen. So it just meant a lot to me to have them somehow be a part of the wedding. And then I knew that I wanted Christy to be my maid of honor, like since before we got engaged. She is my best friend. She is the person I tell everything to. She is, for all intents and purposes, the sister that I never had. And so it meant everything to me for her to stand up there with me. So yeah. And then Joseph really wanted Eugene in his party because we both really wanted Eugene up there. Christy and Eugene have just been such like an integral part to our relationship, and it meant everything to us. So now looking back, having an entire family of people in your wedding party is crazy.
A little bit. So that was the thing. So for at least a little while, Christy was in the wedding and the boys were in the wedding. And I was like, sweet, cool. I'm going to be able to sit down and enjoy this wedding and it's going to be fine. And
He
then
asked you to be in the wedding before I asked Christy.
no, because I was like, oh man, I'm going to be in the wedding now. Okay, well, all four of us are in this wedding now. So we're like, okay. So we're like, trying to figure out, okay, well, we've got, us four, we got to get down there. We're trying to figure out things with like the rest of Lainey's family. And then we have Canadians who are going to be part of the wedding. And it's like, okay, so got to get them down here and we got to figure out how we're going to get them down here. And then Jen is back in town, unfortunately, for the reason why she's in town, but she's back in town. So of course she's got to come too. So there was weeks and weeks of trying to figure out how we were going to do this, like, how we were going to get everyone down there and this, that, and the other.
Well, Jen even at one point asked me if she could ride with my mom.
Yes. So it was, I was trying to figure out how we were going to do all this. And Ray, you want to get and fill in your part on how things changed for y'all?
Well, yeah. So during COVID, our passports
had expired. And the advice at the time was, don't worry about it. All the government offices are closed anyways. You couldn't even get it renewed regardless. No. So it's
everything's on hold anyway. You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. So don't worry about it. When this all gets lifted, worry about it then.
We'll expedite. It's fine.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
it's
blah.
fine. But once that started happening, there's like 37 million people who live in this country. All 37 million people, it felt like, decided to do it at the same time. And the backlog, because then that also meant, so when your passport expires, at least here, that means you got to redo it again. You don't get, you have to do the whole big long process again.
If it expires.
If it expires before you renew it. If you renew it, then it's just more simpler form, it's more straightforward. So because ours had expired during COVID, we only had to do the renewal process. So did everybody else whose passport expired. So it just clogged up our passport offices so much. And there's like offices that you can go and do it, but then they mail it in, and then there's offices that you could like actually go to where they do all the processing and stuff like that. So there's like two ways to do it. We chose, like Ray went down, he did it.
Yeah, like we
went
for the
bachelor party.
Whatever. And so I had to go down to London and just show up at.
And you were there like 6 in the morning.
I was like 6 in the morning, which means I was leaving here around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I get down to London and I stand in line, and at that time I was probably the 12th person in line
for an office that doesn't open until 8 o'clock in the morning.
8:30.
8:30, sorry. That's how crazy it's been here. So when I filed mine and Quinn's, then I find out that Logan, I can't actually file for her because she's 16, technically she qualifies for an adult passport. So then she has to get a whole brand new thing for that. So she needs photo ID. Oh, look, health card's expired. So then it just became a whole trick, like, thing with her that I had to go do all this stuff. She hadn't had her driver's license. She since got her G1. But that was the whole thing. So it was like, okay, mine and Quinn's were supposed to be at the end of summer. That's totally fine. We got it. And then.
And hers is supposed to be like a month or two
after that.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. They were really.
End of September, no problem. Like it should be fine. Okay. I hesitated to buy tickets to go everywhere, and our original intent was to meet up with Jen at some point.
Yeah.
And either all drive down in a van, or we would like fly to Dallas and drive down and pick her up, or something. We were going to do that, and Jen had actually booked an Airbnb down there as well. So we were like, okay, we've got a house down there now. Yeah. We're kind of figuring all that out, and it's getting closer. And I'm like,
my passport has showed up.
Yes, Chris has showed up.
Sid showed up. I'm like, okay, that's great.
So I've called the passport office. They've said you have to look online. I've logged in online. I've asked for updates, which, by the way, I should mention, I did recently get my email requested update about a week ago.
Oh, I haven't gotten that.
And it said, oh, there's I'm like, no shit. Like, now you fucking tell me? Anyway.
Yeah. So we had to make the decision. The closer it got, the more it was like, okay, we're holding things up now. So we actually.
So I'm feeling horrible for Jen, and there's no way that we can take Logan with me or Quinn with me, or just Chris and I go and leave the kids behind.
That's not how we work as a family unit.
It's not going to work. Yeah. So we made a really tough decision of it's just going to be me coming down.
Yeah.
And so we made plans with Jen, flew to San Antonio, and we were going to do that. Mm-hmm. I will note, the day before I left was the day that we got our final passport.
Which was
I bet Logan was pissed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She wasn't. Because by that point she'd already gone through all the emotions, and she was fine with it. And she's like, of course, of course, this is what happened. So so they came in time, but like that.
But I would have been freaking out. Oh, and that was the other thing. So a few weeks before. A few weeks before. So before we make the final decision, I go to the office again. I take another day off of work, and I go down. Mm-hmm. And I showed up at 6 o'clock, and I was the fourth person in line, and we wait until 8:30. And so my first day there, when I applied back in the spring, I was there from about 6 o'clock through till it was like 2 in the afternoon, 2 or 3 in the afternoon by the time I left the office, and they'd actually see me. This time round, I got there, I was fourth in line. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. I get my ticket and I sit down and I wait for my time, and I get called up pretty quickly, and the guy says, okay, so you're looking for updates on these two? I said yes, and he said, okay, well, I can only give you an answer for one because the other one's an adult.
Yeah. So
I said, my daughter's 16 years old.
Yeah.
But because she's applied for as an adult, I can't give you any information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they didn't really give us any information on Quinn's. All they said to you was that there was a problem with the printing press, and it should
be shipping soon.
Yeah,
is what I was given.
Which did not happen because his came last.
His was last. So the one that I would have expected to be anyway. So it was not.
So I filed in June. So it was July, August, September, October, November. It took. Wait a minute. June, July. Yeah, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, 6 months to get his passport.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, 6 months. He's got it now. We're good now. We want to redo it.
By all means, yeah.
We're good to go.
3 of us are good for 10 years, and one's good for 5.
He's good till he's 19. Yeah. So it was really frustrating because we were really looking forward to it. But you plan yours, so.
Yeah, one plan at one point was to that's a monster cat. One point was I told Jen, I was like, when she was trying to figure out how she was going to, she didn't want to drive all the way down there by herself. That was kind of the main thing.
Yes.
And I was like, I mean, you could ride with us, but like you'd have to ride bitch between the boys, and you're not going to want to do that, not for 6 hours. Like it's
No.
Listen,
so.
we did end up giving Jen a really great time because she got to drive a Tesla all the way down there. All the way
she
back,
loved.
so.
Yeah, she was. It was awesome. Electric car the whole way, so that was pretty cool. But I will say, Joseph, Ray's never been asked to be in a group party before.
Outside of
outside of
his
his sister.
Yeah.
So he's never been asked. So he's very interested.
Yeah. I thought my time was over.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we're good. That was fine.
Well, I was the very last of all of my friends, old and new, to get married.
Nice.
So,
I was like, I think the second one of my friends to get married, and then everyone else kind of fell in afterwards. So first, yeah.
Oops. And we were the first to have kids. Also, oops. That was a bigger oops.
Oh, yeah. So one last thing to throw in before we get to the day, or before things start culminating. Yeah. So I get a message from Joseph to me and one of the other groomsmen, and it was like, "Hey, since y'all are co-best men, do y'all both want to give a speech at the wedding?" And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know I was a co-best man. I was like, what? What? When did I get an upgrade? It's like, Chrissy, I have to give a speech. I will say of the four, because there was co-groom best men, and then there was maids of honor, and I think I'm the only one that wrote out my speech and planned my speech. But we'll get to that in a minute, because the last time I gave a speech was at my brother's wedding. I was his best man, and what sucked about it was I don't number one, I don't feel like it was a very good speech. It was kind of off the cuff, and I always felt bad about that. I was like, I should have planned this better. But the other problem was they had two sound systems going. They had one that was supposed to be recording for video, and one that was set up to the actual speaker system. And if you held the mics too close to each other, you would get feedback. And so I never felt like I was talking into either. I was like, well, if I talk into this one and it sounds better, everyone can hear me here, but then it's not going to be saved for posterity. Whereas if I talk into this one, people can't necessarily hear me, but it'll be, it was a thing. So anyway, I was like, nope, I'm going to write this son of a bitch out. So anyway.
I was going to say one more thing too about before everything hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting a message from Lou saying, I hope you're ready to melt. It was 90 degrees Celsius down 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Bleh. 90 degrees down down where you guys were getting married, and I was like, I don't know if I can wear a suit in that. Like that's gonna be brutal. And I said, I'm gonna call in a favor, and we're gonna get some good weather.
Yeah, so that was one of the other things when we were going to try, like, so we had to get suits for me and both of the boys, and luckily one of our friends had a suit. It was too small for him, and he's like, I think it would fit Nicholas. Do you want it for him? And Nicholas fell in love with the idea of wearing a suit, and we were like,
Nick had been begging me to wear a suit since the jump, and I was like, it's fine, whatever you want to wear. But I think Chrissy would have maybe appreciated had I been like, no.
The boy gets hot at the drop of a hat, and he's like, I can't breathe. It's hot air. I can't breathe. Like he cannot handle heat. And I'm just like, dude, you have no idea what you were asking for, but whatever. This is going to be a learning moment.
I explained to him multiple times. I said, buddy, you can wear whatever you like, but I just need you to understand that it is not going to be nice and cool and crispy down there.
Yes. So I'll start this party off. So we get in the car. We have to be down there the day, actually we got there 2 days before. We wanted to get in. We wanted to check into the Airbnb and basically just because it is it's 6+ hours if you stop and eat and everything else.
Okay.
And so we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get down there and like check in with the Airbnb, and then the next day we could do other things like it was the rehearsal and then the rehearsal dinner and stuff like that. So we're in my Ford Flex and we're driving down there. And once we get to about San Antonio, it kind of clouds over. We did not see the sun for the next 5 days, 6 days until literally I drove back to my house. Like it was.
I would like to point out, as a bride to be, and as a person with very real anxiety, I had started checking the weather November 1st. And everybody kept saying, oh, slight chance of rain, but it should be really beautiful for you. And da, 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 da. And as it kept getting closer, I kept checking and I'm texting Christy panicked because I was like, what am I going to do? And she's trying to talk me off a ledge. And she's like, Lainey, it's going to be fine. You're not even checking the right weather. You have to check this instead of this because Christy is the weatherman.
Yes.
Okay?
She's got like 4 apps on her phone that continuously go.
Yeah.
So like anytime there's a thunderstorm warning or something here, like literally like 4 different alarms goes off on her thing. I'm just like, one would do.
And hers is also because of anxiety, but mine was specific to this event. So I'm freaking out because I'm just like, what are we going to do? The entire thing is outside. Now, granted, we booked this venue. When we booked venue, we asked them, is there a plan B? Like, just in case on the off chance we get rained out, is there a plan B? And they were like, oh, absolutely. If you have less than 100 people, we can move you inside. And we were like, great. So we were really careful about this guest list and keeping it within 100 people. Sorry. He's just on one today.
That is a lot of cat. Oh,
I would like to point out
so
that
much cat.
On November the 12th, Lou sent me that had like perfect weather, 60 degrees, sun, and yeah.
I remember a week before I sent out a message saying it was 75.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be perfect.
I really did. I was like, this is great. The valley is going to totally show out for me. Like, I'm so excited because that's the thing is like, it's a tropical climate down there. Like it is always warm and sunny and the right
It was 90 degrees one day last week.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the place that y'all booked at it's a bird sanctuary, right?
It is a birding center. It is a historic home, and they have turned the grounds into a world birding center. And basically, the place is owned by the city, and it acts as a like educational experience. Essentially, you come, you learn about the local wildlife, the local flowers, like, and how everything kind of works together in the ecosystem. Which was another reason that I wanted to book it because I was very into the fact that we would have been like we were directly giving back to the city of McAllen, and I was very into that. So
like our biggest worry was about this bird that y'all kept telling us about.
Oh yeah, chachalacas. So our biggest concern was that somebody was going to get eaten by a chachalaca because they are massive and they are mean, kind of like Barley. Don't show his goodies to the world.
Like we were like they kept telling everyone, don't wear anything that's like really sparkly and stuff.
Nothing sparkly.
Yes, which is funny because even at one point, like Christy was watching something or another, a movie or something, and someone was wearing a gold sparkly dress and was like, "Lainey, what if I wear this?" And I was like, do you not remember any of these conversations? The bird will get you.
Oh yeah, when I heard that, I'm like, I don't know. I love you. I don't know if I want to go if that is a possibility.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely like it's a.
Well, they apparently have like 2 chachalacas on the property who, when there is an event, will like just sort of meander around. They don't bother anybody, but they'll just kind of explore.
No.
Funny side note, my dad sent me a picture a couple days ago. There was a chachalaca nest in their backyard, and the 4 babies
were on their patio.
The babies are the size of full-grown pigeons.
Oh,
that's gonna be a big bird.
That's a big bird.
Now I feel bad. Where's my cat? Anyway, if you're not watching the video version, 'cause I'm about sure Sean's about to go grab one. Anyway, so as we're not really teasing, we're getting up to the day that the whole event is supposed to be outside, and obviously things are not weather-wise don't seem like they're going that well. The temperature was right around 40,
Perfect. Right around perfect.
says the Canadian. It was cool. It was for us Texans, at least the ones who were expecting it to be, 70, 80 or whatever. It was cool.
I saw a few
And for the
people.
people in the valley, that is Arctic temperatures.
It was
Oh, yeah.
full-blown winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the day before, or I'm sorry, the morning of, we'll get there in a second. I was going around with Jennifer and Ray, looking at some stuff, and like everyone is like totally bundled up, and Ray's walking around in shorts and like flip flops. I think like it's just like, and everyone's looking at him just like, who the hell are you? Like,
Not local.
Surprise, motherfucker!
yeah,
I did that in San Francisco too when we were there. Everyone's in freaking parkas, and I'm walking around in t-shirt and shorts.
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. San Francisco's like so.
I had to live up to being Canadian.
You gotta live
Yes.
up to the stereotype. Yeah.
He was on a mission from God.
Just so you know, I put lights up on our balcony in shorts, t-shirt, and flip flops when it was like 30 degrees out the other
There
day.
you go.
When I I went to go get DoorDash for us. I went downstairs to go pick it up. She had ordered it, and she texted the driver like, "Yeah, my husband's
downstairs."
And she's like, "The one in shorts and flip flops in this weather?"
Yeah, she goes, the one in the gray shorts and the coat. I said, yes, ma'am.
I found my place.
Nice. So okay, so not to step on anyone. So anyway, day before, we have the rehearsal dinner. Or we have the rehearsal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a thing that happened. Yes, you're correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you want to talk about it or?
Oh,
The way you set that up is I thought you were telling.
I thought you were
No, this is y'all's story. I'm seasoning. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm being attacked by a drug-fueled cat. Sorry. So before that, we landed that Wednesday. We got down there that Wednesday, and literally from like the moment I landed and turned my phone on, it was just nonstop barrage of phone calls and text messages from my wedding planners of just like, so what do you want to do? And then the florist is trying to get a hold of me to see what I wanted to do, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't supposed to do this, and I kept asking. I said, well, can't we just move everything inside? Like, wasn't that the whole plan up to this point? Well, no, if we move everything inside, there's not going to be any room. I was like, what do you mean? They were like, well, if we move everything inside, you have no DJ, you have no dance floor. And I was like, oh, but I thought that was part of the deal. Well, just with the number of people that you have, it's just not going to work. I was like, okay. So I'm panicking and I'm freaking out. And at this point, as one does as a bride, I was really genuinely trying to not fully. He's high as hell right now. Okay.
He's trying to get in the cooler.
Well, he's enjoying his life. Let him do it. So at this point, I mean, like I was really upset. I was crying and just like beside myself because here I've spent a year and a half planning this wedding. And now I'm just sitting here like not even at that point, we weren't even sure it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so like I'm calling my maid of honor and I'm crying to her. And she's like, where does Joseph think you are right now? I was like, well, he knows I'm in the backyard, but he probably thinks that I'm about to make a run for it. So I have my running shoes on. I totally could have just jumped that fence and just gone, but I didn't. So I
would have paid money.
To think that I would have just hauled ass
to see you jump that fence.
You want to make this bet right here right now? So I had nothing but pure adrenaline and sadness running through me.
That's what I say. You might have had an easier time just running through the fence.
Yeah, I was really. So I'm really sad. I'm like fully freaking out at this point, and I'm just looking at Joseph. I was like, I don't know what to do, and he's like, I don't know what to do either. I was like, great. this is great. I'm so glad we're doing this. This is great. So, to his credit, he finally just kind of looked at me and was like, I don't want you to think about any of this anymore. And I was like, well, it's my wedding. So like, nice try. But he was like, no, like, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to take care of it. I don't want you to worry about it. And he did.
There you go.
And it was the best wedding ever with no problems.
Nothing else
whatsoever.
happened. The end.
So y'all decided to rent a
Tent.
tent.
We were being presented with the option of, because of the number of guests that you have, a tent outside might be a great option. I was like, cool, great, awesome, thinking that they would have room for a big enough tent to fit everything all under one spot. Right. But with a tent, we had already rented heaters the week before, just because once we found out that it was for sure going to be cold, we figured it was going to be cold, but not rainy. We could still have it outside. We'll put out some heaters. It'll be good. So Joseph kind of worked out. I basically was just like forwarding the text messages to him from the wedding planner. And like, we were just getting the okay from one another and then just moving forward with it. So we had decided on, like, it's never just a tent. It's also a dance floor, and it's also lighting, and it's like, it's 10 different things that go into one decision. And so we had finally found a decent deal. Somebody apparently quoted us $16,000 for a tent. So fuck that person. But we finally found what was a pretty reasonable price for all of the above and gave it the okay. And then we went out there for a rehearsal, which, like, at this point, like, I'm now to the point where I really just want to try and enjoy my wedding. Like, all of these people that I love are coming here. Like, I want to see my friends. I want to revel in like this, because it is like a very like wild, special time. Like, I really just wanted to like be with my fiance, be with my friends, be with my family, and just enjoy it, which is very hard to do when everyone around you is freaking the fuck out. So it was just a lot. So we get out there for the rehearsal. We do the rehearsal, and then the wedding planner asked if I want to go see the tent. I was like, oh, absolutely. So we're walking out there, and it's not up, which I didn't really think anything of, because I did not realize that they were supposed to have been out there at like 9 a.m. that morning. It's now
2 p.m.
Yeah, it's now like 3:30, and they're still working on everything. So I didn't really think about that because I didn't know that. But I did ask. I was like, I said, I'm just getting a little concerned. I was like, are you guys going to bring in like fans or something to dry off the ground? I was like, because it's been raining like last 2 days. I was like, y'all aren't worried about that, like all that dirt being soggy? Oh, no. You know, we've been in a drought. It's going to just soak it all up. It'll be fine. I don't want you to worry. And I was just like, okay. Well, but here's me. I mean, I'm just like, okay, well, if she says it's going to be okay, then I assume that she's telling me the truth and that it's going to be okay. So we go back. He went back. We went back. We had our rehearsal dinner, which was lovely. Like, everybody, all of these wonderful people. Like, I will say, I feel like the rehearsal dinner was exactly what we wanted.
Yes.
We wanted a very low key, like, originally backyard barbecue, but it turned into a thing inside the house. But it was like a big family party.
Yep.
It was really fun. Joseph's uncle made incredible barbecue. Like, everybody was just hanging out, chilling out, like enjoying each other's company. Like, it was lovely. Like, it was really wonderful. So
Jen made probably one of my favorite jokes of the year.
Oh my God.
Like, it goes in the list that year. For those of you that aren't aware of what Jen said, my mother is
an artist,
and she paints two different things. She either paints a lot of abstract artwork, generally with some kind of focus on like floral things, or she paints religious imagery. And when you walk into my parents' house from the garage, you walk into what is like for lack of better term, the grand room. It's like a dining area and it's the living room with a dining area. It's just a big family room. And there's a piano there that back in the early 80s, my dad did some work for someone. The guy could not afford to pay him, so he gave him the piano. That is how we have a piano. This big old, big, weighs like 5,000 pounds. It has never moved from that spot in the 30 years that my parents have lived in that house. Kind of piano. Like one of the wheels is broken and you can't shove it. Anyway, on this piano, where you would put the sheet music, there's these paintings that my mother has. And Jen, thinking that it's a, Elaine and I are kind of geeky, she goes and tells me, she's like, it's really cool that your mom painted a whole bunch of Obi-Wan Kenobis for your wedding. And I was like, those are all Jesus.
That's Jesus.
But yes, so I ran with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like that.
There are a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Well, to be fair, she's in the midst of that's kind of where her inspiration is right now. So she'll do whenever she gets into y'all know, you get into a specific era or period or whatever, and that's what she's working on right now. When she does florals,
cool.
she'll do 10 florals in a row. Yeah. And it's really incredible too to see her work because you can tell
that at the top right there, that's one of her abstract flowers.
Okay, cool.
Here on the side are watercolors that she did for Joseph.
Yeah.
She's very talented. So, but it was just funny because me and Joseph both were like, yep, that would be Jesus Christ. But okay. So
I do like the story of being Obi-Wan though.
She just a bunch of Obi-Wan Kenobis.
Yeah.
So
the Yoda, R2, and Chewie watercolors from my mom's birthday present to me a few years ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she does a lot of that. She painted a picture of our dog when we lost our dog. She's wonderful. But we had a lovely thing. He and I said goodnight to each other and parted ways. I don't know what you did. I went back to the hotel and chilled out. We were driving back, and Christy had mentioned to me that a bunch of our friends from home were going to meet us at the hotel at some point. We literally ran into them in the parking lot. We almost ran over one of my friends. So
nice.
We met up with them. We went and drank in the crappy little hotel bar for crazy. Just had a go with everyone. It was really lovely. So much of this wedding has been just feeling very surrounded by so much love and just really getting to enjoy all of our. Yes, I know he's on at something. I don't know what his deal is right now. The cat is losing his mind, but like I was saying, it was just nice. I was just very trying to enjoy this last night before our wedding and sat up with my friends for hours and just talking and it was great. And then Christy and I got to chat before the night before and goof around and woke up the next morning and lo and behold it was still disgusting. So but I don't know about you, what did you do?
I was asleep.
Was it?
Yeah. I was staying at my parents' house.
That's true.
All my friends left. So I was just like, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Jen and I went back to the hotel room and she went to her room, I went to mine, I went passed out because we've been up driving.
Yeah, you had a long day. But the next morning. Oh,
hold on. I had side flash here. So, like she said, we got an Airbnb. It was me and Christy and our boys. We took the master bedroom, which was downstairs, and the other downstairs bedroom was her grandfather. The night before when we got there, we tried showing him how to use Hulu and stuff like that, but it's just not going to happen. So I had to go buy those flat antennas that you put up or whatever, set it up so he could get the local stations, got that set up. Lainey's mom was also staying with us. She took one of the upstairs bedrooms, and the other upstairs bedroom was for Christy's brother and his wife. Well, they weren't able to come in on Thursday. They came in the day before they came in on Friday. Well, they came in that evening, and after we were at Joseph's parents' house, I went back. Christy came back as well. She packed a bag. She was actually going to stay with Lainey that night, in preparation for the wedding. So I had the boys. I got them ready, and they were playing games or whatever. Got them in the shower or whatever, and then we had a queen size air up mattress that they slept on while I was sleeping on the king size bed, and I got them to sleep. And then as I'm laying down to sleep, I'd been staying up a little while talking with her brother and his wife. They went upstairs with their big dog, Colt. Colt is, if you've seen, he's a moose. If you have seen Christmas Vacation, he snots. He looks like snots. So anyway, they're upstairs with Colt, and I hear all this banging, and like I'm getting ready for the shower. I hear all this banging and moving around and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I know they're newlyweds, but I know what's happening. What it sounds like is happening is not really happening. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, I wonder if something going on with Colt or something. I don't know. At this point, so one of the first things I noticed was I plugged my phone in next to my side of the bed, and it won't charge. The electrical outlet there is not working. And I'm like, all right, well, that's something we've got to tell the Airbnb people. So anyway, so I have to plug in my phone in the bathroom. I go to bed, fall asleep. Next morning, I wake up to a text message from her brother saying, "Sorry for all the noise. The bed is broken. We had to move it and stuff." So sure enough, the Airbnb had apparently went to sub IKEA or went to the cheapest round of IKEA. The beds look nice, but you're talking about a king or queen size bed that is on maybe half-inch thick wood as slats with a few legs down the center of the bed, literally screwed in through. And if you move the bed at all, it just literally just starts leaning, and then literally was pulling the bolts out of the wood. It was really, really cheap. Well, when they got there, literally he laid on the bed, and they're just like, "What is that?" And then notice that they're both slowly but surely sliding towards the center of this bed, and they're like, "You know what? I don't trust this." So sure enough, they got up and they noticed the bed was pretty much broken. So they had to move the entire frame over, pull the mattress up, lean the frame up against the wall, then they could move the mattress so there was room for them and the dog. So that was strike two against this place. Anyway, so wake up the next morning, and I get a message from Ray and Jennifer, and they're like, "Hey, we want to go run some errands and stuff or whatever. Do you want to meet up?" And I'm like, "Sure." They're like, "We also have to charge the car." I'm like, "Cool, I'll meet up with y'all and pick you up, and we can go, kind of, drive around and take care of some stuff. That way, y'all don't have to stay with the car." What time do when I say what time do most businesses open? What is the time that pops into your head? I've always worked at businesses that started at 10 a.m. Like 10 a.m. around here is the normal time for a business to open up.
I'm used to like a 9 a.m.
Yeah, like 9.
By 9, things are open.
Okay, 9, 10.
Maybe 10 if it's, but 10's like late for late open. Should be open by 9.
Okay, fair enough. I guess Ray didn't really look at the times. I get this
because it's a Barnes and Noble. Oh, they'll be open at 9.
Nope, nothing is open until 10.
10 at the earliest, more likely 11.
Yes, there were a couple places he wanted to go that didn't open till 11. So I went and picked up Ray and Jen. And number one, the map was not giving me really good directions. I was like, I think I'm here. Where are y'all? I don't even see the place y'all are talking about. Finally found them. And then we went to a Barnes & Noble, looked around. And then we went to, did we go to one or two comic shops?
We were at one when you picked us up.
Uh-huh.
And then we just drove around for a while. And then
we went to one. We may have gone to two. But anyway, we went to a comic shop or two and looked around. That was a lot of fun.
Just the one.
Okay.
You can go to two.
So at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I've got to drop y'all off so y'all can pick up the car. And I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, all right, Christy's telling me you need to have the. Y'all had to be there when, Lainey?
We had to be there by 10.
Okay, y'all had to be there by 10. I asked Joseph, what time do the groomsmen and stuff need to be there? What time did you tell me? Like 3?
I said that we're taking photos at 3. I'm going to get there at 12.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, so if I got there at 1 or 2, that would be fine. And you were like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm go pick up some lunch for the boys, take them back, get them fed or whatever, and then start getting them dressed. And I'm just like, trying to get 10-year-olds to wear suits and everything else. I'm just like, and on top of that, I'm trying to put on my clothes and everything else, and it was a thing. So anyway, that's my part of the story, because when I come back in, things have already started happening. So y'all get there at 10, Leanie.
We got there at 10, and like things were pretty chill. So like Christy and I left the hotel, which was right down the street from the venue. Got there, Molly was with us, like, because us 3 girls had to get there a little early to start hair and makeup. And then the other members of my bridal party didn't need to be there until later, but wanted to like be there. But they went and ran a couple of like last minute errands and stuff that needed to get done. Returning the car, like there was a couple of things they had to go get done. So like I'm chilling at the hotel or at the venue, and I'm working on making sure my vows are finalized, the photographers are there, like just doing the normal, I guess, wedding morning stuff. And like perfectly enjoying myself. Like we had made mimosas, we were just hanging out and just talking, and like the girls that were doing our hair and makeup were really great. They were also really good friends, and so it was just like a fun vibe. My guy friends got there while we were getting hair and makeup done. Like I went right in the middle, so it was like Molly and Christy, and then I went. And as we're like sitting in there, the wedding planner comes in at one point and is like, okay. She's like, so I told you I wasn't going to come to you unless there was like something I really needed. Like, because I told her, I was like, I don't want to deal with little piddly shit. I said, especially day of. I was like, I come to me with big stuff that you have to have my opinion on, or don't come to me at all. And she's like, okay, great. So she comes, she's like, I need your input on this. Here's where we're at. And she told me, she was like, I didn't want to say anything last night, but one of your vendors, the way that she said it to me was that a vendor did not show up. And I was like, okay. And she said, the people with the tent they messed up the way that they set it up, and they did not come back. They're refusing to come back to fix it. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm glad that we paid all that money for them to basically give us the finger, but great. And she was like, we're working on it right now, but we're getting tables and everything moved in, and we're, she was telling me that they were worried that there wasn't going to be enough room for all of the tables. And it asked me if I was okay with them moving one of the tables in there to the room where we were getting ready. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's fine. I said, you know what? It could be like a kid's table, because I'm thinking like, my nephews are 10, and then, Lou's kids like would probably hang out with Nick and Alex because they're all friends. That'll be totally fine. They'd probably prefer it that way, to be away from all of the adults anyway, right? Not thinking anything of it. And so we're doing that. And it was weird because at that point, like every time they came to me with something, I was so like, I don't know if I was just so calm or if I was just so disassociated by then that I was just like, okay, like nothing bothered me at that point.
Which was like, totally not how I would have pictured it. Like totally, I would have I was like, is she high?
I shocked everyone, even Christy and Molly both were like, you are handling this really well. And I was just like, what else am I going to do at this point? Yeah. What else am I going to do at this point? And Molly was just like, yeah, she's like, you're right. She's like, I'm glad that you're enjoying this, and that's what I told them. I was like, I really just want to soak in all of this. I was like, this is like my ideal scenario is me hanging out with all of my friends before I get ready to go do something that I really want to do. I was like, this is great. So she came back a couple of times. Like they came and they moved the table in there, and then one of the wedding planner's husband said something kind of racist to a friend of mine, which I did not hear at the time.
Okay.
Apparently she made him come and apologize, but had I heard that, that would have been a very different. I would not have been so calm about that. So, at some point they had moved the table back out. I think your mom had gotten upset about having the table in there or something. I don't know. I honestly don't even, because like, no, your mom had come to me. She was like, they can't have the kids' table in here. I said, the little kids can stay with their parents. I said, but I have nephews and stuff that are old enough, like they'll be fine. I was like, and honestly, I said, I don't know where else anything is going to go. I have not seen the tent. They sent me a picture of just like what the tables were looking like. And I was like, great, it looks beautiful. I'm in the middle of getting ready for my wedding. I'm not counting chairs. I'm not counting tables.
No.
And so I am very much in like the dark about everything that's going on. At some point, I noticed that there's a lot of commotion and a lot of discussion. And I noticed that like my friends, Shaq, Peter, and Brandon have all disappeared. But I am in the middle of getting my makeup done. I'm talking with Christy. I'm talking with Molly. Like everyone's just, we're all just kind of hanging. And like his mom and his sister had showed up. My mom was there. Like, I'm just kind of like blissfully ignorant of everything that's apparently going on. So, and I'm going to pass it to this one.
I ended up getting to the venue around 12:15 or so, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I had to take with me, and then we forgot, like the cash that we need to pay off some people. So things got delayed a little bit. I wanted to get there at 12 and in there 12:15. I walk in with boxes of stuff, and I can hear Elaine and her friends in their room, and they're having a grand old time. And in my head, I'm like, oh, perfect, everything's working out, everything got set up, and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, someone go find me the wedding planner because I have to give her this box. It's for our memory table. She comes out, I hand her her stuff. She says, I have to tell you something. And so she proceeds to tell me about the tent, and then they set it up wrong, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I mean, what did Elaine say? She says, Elaine is fine. Elaine knows. And I was like, okay, Elaine knows. Elaine's cool. Then I'm not going to worry about it.
No, Elaine did not know.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. And so I was like, I'm going to go and sit down in my room. I'm going to have a drink. And I cracked open the piggyback whiskey that Elaine bought me. And this was the first drink that I took. Pour myself a glass. Some tumbler. I did probably 2 or 3 fingers, and I took a drink. Finished that drink. And then just kind of sitting there. Photographers walk in. Hey, are you ready to start taking pictures? Like, no, my groomsmen aren't here yet. I'm not even obviously not dressed because I was in like shorts and whatnot. And I was like, I don't really want to get dressed right now. Come back later. I'll text you when my people get there. Then Shaq and Peter come and grab me, and they're like, hey, do you want to see the tent? Sure. So I walk out there. They did not place down anything walking into the tent, so you had to walk through the grass to get to it. The dance floor they had left out all night in the rain, so it was soaked through. That I'm pretty sure if we'd all decided to stand on it, we would have fallen through it. The 3 heaters that we had got were on top of the dance floor, meant to be drying it out, but weren't even on. There was no table for the DJ, no table for the bar, and no table for the caterer. The chairs were so close together that if you pulled your chair out to get up, you hit the person behind you. They were in rows. Where our head table was, it was tucked away into a corner, so much so that the edge of the table was touching the tent. So in order for us to get out, we had to pick it up, move the table, we go sit down and pick it up, and then move back towards us. And we were in that area. And then I get up and I'm looking, and was like, something seems weird. So I started counting. We were expecting 87 people. There were only 59 chairs in under the tent. So they asked me, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, what can be done? Nothing can be done. Apparently, nothing can happen anymore. And Elaine is cool with all of this. So I'm just going to have to be cool with this. I'm going to go drink more. And so I poured myself yet another glass of this whiskey.
Kudos to me. That was a great day of gifts.
Then after that, my mom walks in. She's like, Mijo, I can't do this. This is not right. I was like, Mom, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, I am embarrassed, but this is not about me at this point anymore. If she is happy, I am happy. End of story.
Everybody was under the assumption that I was fully down for all of this stuff that was happening, and that I was fully kept up to date on all of these things.
Yeah.
Right.
My friends knew, like, they didn't tell her any of this shit. Like,
yeah.
So
my mom, it's like, well, I want to say something. I was like, don't say anything. This is whatever Elaine wants, Elaine gets, and this is the way it's going to be. So it's fine. It's like, no, I need to go say something. I was like, Mom, I am begging you, please do not go say anything to anyone. She leaves, and I pour myself glass number 3. I think I took a couple shots in between here and then. I think Ray, you were there at this point.
That's when I showed up and the picture started. Yeah.
Yeah, and we took some pictures. So I've drank 3 full glasses of whiskey and then taken shots in between by this point in time.
You were miraculously well put together at that point still, though, I have to say.
A lot to knock them
down. I'm pretty good at the game of drinking.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, about 30 minutes, 45 minutes after that, not quite sure the timing, I get a text message from my mom. And all the message says is, it's done and Elaine knows. And that is it. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. So I pour myself glass number 4.
Yes. I think your dad was at that point too.
Yeah, my dad was up there. I do remember walking outside and seeing Elaine's groomsmen, our officiant, random workers, people grabbing all the floral arrangements, tables and everything like that, and moving them from the tent to inside the main house where the ceremony was supposed to be. So I get curious and walk over there, and all the chairs are no longer set up for the ceremony. There are tables just splayed out everywhere. None of the flowers are there. There's no table coverings. There's nothing. Ray, I'm pretty sure you can attest this. I'm getting visibly more angry. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to pour myself glass number 5. Before the wedding started, Sean, I had already drank the bottle of whiskey.
You're proud of him, Sean.
But he still held it together. So let me explain this real quick, because y'all are kind of dancing around this. So the place where we're supposed to be getting the ceremony is supposed to be. Initially, when we had the rehearsal, it's this long rectangular room, and at the head of it is where the actual ceremony is. And then in rows of, I think on 3 or 4 on each side, 3 or 4 chairs on each side, going down with a center aisle is how this was originally set up.
And that was always the plan.
And that was the plan. That was the plan. And then all of this stuff was supposed to happen outside, like the reception, the dancing, all that stuff was supposed to happen outside. So what ends up happening is they end up basically pulling out all of the chairs and setting up these 2 lines of tables. And so there are people sitting on each side. We still have a center aisle. It's not extremely wide, but it doesn't really.
No, it's not.
There's enough room for a person to walk through, which is honestly all you really need.
Till the end of the wedding.
Right. And then at the very back, they have the DJ set up. And then there's like a kind of a side hallway kind of here on the one side.
It's supposed to be like a sun porch kind of a thing, like a sun.
And so there's some tables and some chairs and stuff set up there. And that's where they start setting, at the end of this like hallways, where they start setting up like the food and stuff. And so in retrospect, I will go ahead and say this. It turned out beautiful. It was gorgeous. When I can't remember if it was Nick or Alex, when they walked in and saw it, they were like, Dad, it looks a little bit like Hogwarts. And I was just like, if they could have, if this would have initially been the plan and y'all had candles, like, that would have been fucking fantastic. But I can only imagine you trying to convince them, hey, can we put hooks up in the ceiling of this like 200-year-old building or 500?
Yeah, this 100-and-something-year-old home. Is it cool if we just poke holes in the ceiling?
Yeah. Of course, at this point, who really cares? Because fuck them.
For real. So at one point, like I was getting my makeup done. And like I noticed that like everyone's kind of everywhere. And my phone rings and I can't answer it. And so one of the members of my bridal party, Peter, picks it up and it's my wedding planner. And I can hear him. He takes the call into the hallway, which was already suspicious. And I can hear him. So his fiance, Brandon, is in the room with me. And I can hear Peter. Peter has a very distinctive thing when he's like frustrated. Like, okay. Okay. And it's like just consistently getting higher. And I like talking to Brandon and I was like, that doesn't sound great. Brandon they're like, no, it really doesn't. I was like, okay. It's like, I'm not even going to question it. Come to find out, there was apparently a period of time where neither of the wedding planners could be found.
1:15 to 3:15, neither wedding.
No one was there. And like Christy had come up to me. I guess that at some point, Peter or Brandon probably went out, saw the tent, and told Christy what was going on. That's my assumption, just because of the way that it happened.
Yeah.
So, because they would die before they did anything to make me upset. But they also know that if like something needs to get done, go tell Christy and Molly and it's going to get done. So they're kind of taking care of that. I'm just sort of like chilling. And then my mom walks in or whatever and is like, hey, someone's here to see you. And then like my best friend's mother growing up was like a second mother to me. She is the closest thing I've ever had to a godmother. And she flew all the way from Miami to be there and came ahead of time to just come and see me. So I am feeling thousands of emotions, talking to Lourdes, like just, it was crazy. You know, I haven't seen her in like 5 years. It was just very nice. And then, you know, I told her, I was like, let me sit down really fast and finish this. And then I want to come and talk to you. As soon as I'm done getting my makeup done, I get up and his mom comes in and in just the most Melly way ever comes in and it's just like, hi, honey. I was like, hi. She goes, let's take a walk. And I'm like, oh God. She's grabbing me by the arm and she's leading me and she's being so sweet. And I was like, I was just going to go talk. She goes, there's time for that in a moment. Let's just keep going. And I was like, okay. She leads me into the main, and like I had noticed people like kind of coming back and forth, but I just assumed people were bringing in liquor and whatever and not thinking about it. And so she walks me into the main hallway into the main hall where I see that they have moved everything. My florist is there setting stuff up, like, which total pro. If you get married in the Valley, Leslie at Ambiance is incredible. And we'll do some of the best work for you. She's wonderful and so flexible. She was an absolute doll. But yeah. And his mom is just like, I'm thinking something is wrong with him. Like I'm starting to get nervous because I'm thinking like something has happened to him or whatever.
He's getting his stomach pumped because he drank an entire bottle of liquor.
Something. So I'm just like, or there's been like an accident or something. And she just tells me, she goes, we're going to have it in here. And I was like, okay. And she goes, there was just no way. She goes like, I know your heart was set on having it outside. I know that you already told him that it was okay, but there's just no way. And she's explaining to me very calmly, like it was so muddy. There's no way you could have gotten around. We could not have gotten your grandfather out there. It was too crowded. There wasn't enough space. I told them that we needed to make it work and they're going to make it work. And I looked at her and I was just like, you know what? I said, it's beautiful. It's going to be good. I said, but honestly, I said, I just want to marry Joseph today. No. And she was like, okay, great. And like, that was it.
Yeah.
So it was just like, there was a lot of stuff that was happening kind of behind the scenes that I had no idea about. I am bummed that I feel like he, they're like, it's so hard to communicate with your partner day of. Like, had I known that you had thought this and this and this was happening, I would have just like demanded to go over there myself.
Yeah.
Or sent Peter and Shaq with a message or something. So it was just a mess. Like leading up to it was an absolute mess. But like the way that our friends and family showed up and really showed out for us made everything so much better. Like I don't, we couldn't have pulled it off without them.
No.
We really couldn't have. Like we're so thankful to all of y'all for just going out of your way to make it happen. So, but it was wild. And then like before I knew it, it was time for us to do our first look. And that was insane. So I'm like coming, there's like two people that just work the front desk that are literally sitting behind me. Like as we're doing our first look because they're working, like the place is open. So, but they pull me up behind him or whatever. And it was so funny because he turns around and we're just like staring at each other and I can't stop laughing. And he's just like, today's been a total shit show. He's like, I had like a whole bottle of whiskey. I was like, how are you alive right now? Like, he was like, how have you been? I was like, really calm. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's crazy to me that all of this stuff has changed. I said, but honestly, like, I just really want to get married. And he was like, great, me too. And then I believe you looked at me and said, so now that after everything, would you do it all again? And I started laughing and said, no. No. I said, I love you. I said, I would choose you every single day. I would marry you 1,000 times over. I will never do this again.
No. Nope.
No.
Well, I know at one point I got a text or call from Christy, and she's like, "Okay, this has changed," and I get something else, and then I get something else, and it's like at one point it was like, "Okay, they've decided that if you walk out there, literally, if you sit in a chair, like you were going to sink," and
You're
there's
gonna
at one
sink.
point they're like, someone was told maybe just tell everyone not wear nice shoes, and I'm just like, what?
That was told
Like-
to me at the rehearsal.
Oh. I do remember somebody told me that half the dance floor was covered in mud and water. Like it was, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So after everything happened, when we went back to the hotel, we all kind of went and sat at the bar for a little while. And that's when my friends were kind of telling me, like, Christy was mad. Molly, my whole wedding party was mad, not at me, but just at the fact that they felt like they had really bamboozled me and had not been honest with me about the reality of what it looked like outside.
Yeah.
So Peter especially, he was like, I know that like nobody wants to upset the bride on their wedding day. He was like, but had you walked out there and like everything was just done and there was no turning back, he's like, you would have been heartbroken.
Yeah.
It was like, I couldn't stand by and let that happen. Christy couldn't stand by and let that. No one could just let that happen to you and Joseph.
Yeah.
So their big issue was just the fact that they felt that one, they did not give the same information to you that they gave to me.
Yeah.
And two, they really did like not want to tell us what was really going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For fear of upsetting me, as if I had not been very chill up to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I really was trying to be as calm as possible and as rational as possible. So it really bummed me out that at the end of the day, like these people that we had paid all this money to didn't follow through all the way on their job. You know what I mean? So we lucked out. The rest of the vendors were great. Oh, except the one thing.
Yeah, one of the bartenders got really drunk.
Oh, he was smashed, man.
And saying like being drunk is one thing. Like one, fuck off. Like, why are you drinking out of my liquor? But two, like he was saying really inappropriate stuff to some of our guests. That was the issue that I had.
Yeah.
It's one thing that you're like drunk off your ass and you're now slowing shit down because like we're paying for guest experience here. But now you're like hitting on my sister-in-law, you're saying inappropriate stuff to my cousin's wife, like
I didn't know about that part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I walked up to him in my dress and asked for a drink, and he looked at me like he had no idea who the fuck I was.
Because he didn't.
And I looked at Jesse, I looked at Joseph's other best man, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? He's like, oh, he's hammered. He's been taking shots with people. I was just like, oh, okay. Like, it was wild. Shit was wild. But kudos to the other bartender who totally picked up the slack. No one waited for anything.
Nope, he was good.
He was great on it. I went up for a drink at one point, and I remember Joseph told me to get, I can't remember what it was called, but so
Old fashioned.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the old fashioned. So I was like, yeah, sure. But as I was going to order to the first guy who was out of his tree, mid sentence, he's talking to me mid sentence, and he goes over to this other person and just full on conversation with this other person. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. It's all right. And he's just like, he was out of his tree. I'm laughing because I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gone. And the other guy's like, I got it. I'm like, cool, sounds good, man. It's like, your other bartender, he was on it. Like,
I'm annoying,
no.
and I'm full Disney cast member mode, and I'm like, this is poor guest experience. This is bad show.
Got fired.
He did get fired.
Oh, did he?
Not because of us specifically.
We let the owner of the company know what happened, and he emailed us back and said that he's no longer bartending.
Yeah, he said that this is the second time that this had happened, and he was trying to kind of give him a chance to, like, which I appreciate, you know, deserve a second chance. But like, we love the guy that we work with. Like, the owner of the place is wonderful. He does a really great job. He did a bang up job of, you know, helping us get stuff. Like, he was great.
Yeah.
So we just felt like, hey, your entire business is based off of word of mouth. Probably want to get this taken care of, because this isn't a good look.
Yeah.
So, and it's also illegal in the state of Texas.
Yes.
No. TBC does not mess around. God, what is
Neither
your
does
deal
that
today?
cat. So the actual ceremony actually went really well.
Yes.
I thought.
Yep.
Getting down the aisle with my grandfather in hand and that giant tree of a bouquet, which was beautiful.
God, yes, it was a beautiful bouquet, but oh my God, like even I picked it up at one point and I was just like, Jesus, this is huge.
Around. I could not touch the fingertips together.
Like literally, I know Christy and I asked, so we're like, are you sure we haven't got this mixed up? Like, are we like that should be a centerpiece on the table? Like, why is she carrying this thing?
I will say, I also liked how you guys had the opposite. So us looking at Joseph and your side looking at Lainey, like that was cool. I did like that.
That was really important to me. Like, that's the thing, is I feel like all the decisions that we made in the ceremony, like, were really good. I wish that the music had not been so quick and spliced together, but I still, like, he got his moment, I got my moment. It was really nice. Yep. Like, it was, so much of that does go by so quickly, but like, I really pushed from the start. What? Well, I really pushed from the start that I really wanted Joseph's party to stand behind me and my party to stand behind him, because I don't know, I just feel like you go, so many of those people that are in your wedding party are like a huge part of your life and have been for a long time. Christy has literally been a part of my life since the day I was born. So to be able to like look at the person that you love and then also be able to see all of these other people that you love meant everything to me. Like, Christy was so mad at me too. She was like, I swear to God, I'm not going to cry. I was like, don't. You don't have to. At one point, she started making funny faces at me right when we started, which was nice. Peter cried, which was delightful.
Yeah.
Like, it was really nice. Like, that is one of those things that like I will remember forever, because so much of it flies by. But I woke up randomly in the middle of the night like a week ago and couldn't for the life of me remember if they played the right music when we walked back down the aisle. They did.
Yeah.
Yes, but I was like, did that even happen? Like, it goes by so fast.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to just soak in all of it because I mean we really were surrounded by all of the people that we love.
I figured out what's wrong with Cat.
What? Is he hungry?
He has the munchies.
Oh.
Because he's high as shit.
Well, you could talk more about how you felt during the ceremony.
Yeah. So
Let's see this ceremony. What?
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Ceremony was very nice. Eugene's speech was.
That was the reception.
Oh.
That was awesome.
Yeah, don't skip ahead, Joseph.
I did notice Cat like sweating bullets in the ceremony.
Oh my God, it was so hot up there. So the officiant they had is one of Christy's oldest friends, and he. Okay, so I don't know what. Since I've lost a bunch of weight, I mean I've put some of it back on, but anyway, since I've lost a bunch of weight, my tolerance for the heat has gone up, and my tolerance for the cold has gone down. Something that my wife likes to make fun of me. That being said, I wasn't sweating bullets. On the other hand, the officiant, I'm literally watching as the sweat just like goes and it just pulls on the tip of his nose. I'm just like, when's it gonna fall? When's it gonna fall? It's really hot, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm hot, but I'm not sweating. I'm good. So I forgot about that.
Poor Chad.
Yeah, I was warm as well, but thankfully I was not that bad.
Yeah, he was burning up.
Yeah.
One of the funny things. Lainey, I don't know if you knew this or not, but during the rehearsal, whenever he was kind of going through the steps, and he's like, and y'all do your own vows. Nick looks to me and goes, "I want to yell rap battle," and I'm like,
I would have killed him, but that would have been funny.
I think Aunt Lainey might kill you, but on the other hand, it would be fucking epic. So, so yeah, I thought that would have been fun. But anyway,
I would have won that. Just FYI,
probably
totally would have won that.
Oh, I would have had to totally.
But no, I mean, so the.
Oh, sorry.
Do what?
Nope.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like after, like when we got into the, like I don't know where are we going reception now?
Please.
Yeah. So when you guys went off and then they started serving the food and everything, that was, by the way, food was delicious.
Yeah, the food was dope.
We get to just before the reception where the you have to share Eugene's speech when you're able to, because that was awesome.
Okay, so a couple quick things.
Eugene's speech actually made me emotional.
Well, I'm glad. Couple quick things. Couple things I have to throw out there real quick. I officially inducted Joseph as being close friend, family coming into the family, because of the last thing I told you before we walked out. Do you remember what that was, Joseph?
Probably not.
I don't know.
I looked at you and I told you the exact same thing that I've told my brother, that my friends told me, that all of my close friends have said right before we got married. Are you sure? This is the last chance. You can run. And we're literally, what was funny was we would walk into the door and turn right to go down the aisle. But if you kept going straight, literally you could just walk straight out. And he's like, yeah, actually, I can make you run for it. And I'm like, you won't get very far, but yeah, you could. I'm like, your mother would be the one to chase you down.
You literally would. She would have tackled you.
Yes. But yes, so no, the ceremony I thought went beautiful. All that was great. Yes, the food. So after the wedding, we're waiting for. There's not a lot. Along with everything else going on, there's not a lot of information going on. It's like, okay, so are we doing? Like, are we eating first? Is there appetizers? What's going on here? And all I know is I've got a 10-year-old standing next to me. Dad, I'm hungry. Okay, they're going to start serving food in just a little bit. You can wait. No, Dad, I'm really hungry. And there's like, of course, they were standing here, and they already started setting up the appetizers. And I'm just like, dude, just wait. It'll be fine. Like, just give it 10 more minutes. They're taking care of stuff. They'll be out here in just a second. The next thing I know, he's gone over there and given the really nice Mexican lady puppy dog eyes, and she's, oh, here, and she starts putting food on his plate, and I'm just like, you little shithead.
Ay, pobrecito.
He's brilliant.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course his brother, can I get? I'm just like, go ask her. And of course she's
Was
like,
this
yes,
before or
please. Here.
after the mariachi?
This was after the mariachi. By the way, no one had any clue about mariachi band,
Nope.
but they came in and rocked it.
Oh,
They were
great.
Yeah,
fantastic.
they were great.
So, which was interesting because didn't you tell me the only reason you would have
That was
one
a big.
if they were all female? There was only one guy.
I wanted, yes. So this particular group usually travels all women, but they do have one guy that sometimes plays with them and sometimes doesn't. It just sort of depends on who all is there. So that was very important to me. I wanted like a female-owned mariachi.
And they were fantastic. Like we didn't know. All of a
They
sudden
were
they came
so
in and
good.
it was just like because the other thing was is literally we're in the little side hall, so I'm like here to over there away from them. So I mean they're blasting at us, but it was
It's
fantastic.
so
It was awesome.
Then they went through
That
there,
was cool.
went to the main area, so that they were
Yeah.
in front of everybody, which is pretty cool. So,
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I forgot.
that was
I
fun.
forgot about that. He said that.
But yeah, we were just in the back, kind of waiting to be told when we were supposed to come out, which never really happened. I finally was just like, can we go? Can I go see people? And they were like, oh yeah, I guess so. I was like, great.
I almost went back there a couple of times, being like, "Are you guys coming out? Like, what's going on?"
My friends came back there like as soon as we went back there. I think we were alone for 10 minutes.
Maybe.
Okay.
And which I fully expected. My friends have no boundaries. So they were just like, hey. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reception was really fun. It was the DJ did a pretty good job. We didn't get everything played, but like
Whoa!
things moved a
You
little
didn't get
bit.
everything played?
No.
Jesus, woman.
I had a list.
Okay, so let me.
It only have till 11 o'clock. So
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that story here in a second.
Well,
so
and dinner lasted longer than we had intended for it to last because my mom left to take my grandfather back to the Airbnb, which is fine. I know he needed to go back to the Airbnb, but my mom was gone.
It wasn't fine. I have a bone to pick with that. Shouldn't have been your mother, but whatever. Go on.
Yes, agreed. It shouldn't have been my mother. It really shouldn't have been my mother.
No, there are other people in your family that could have easily done that. Son of a bitch.
Could have
Go
absolutely taken it. So there was that. So my mom was gone for like an hour, so we were just sort of having to like wait to do cake cutting, first dance, and like everyone's starting to get antsy with me. They're like, well, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? I was like, I don't know. Y'all won't tell me what's going on. I didn't even know my mom had left until they finally told me that. And I was like, y'all tell me what you want to do. Like, if we need to do this and this, we can do this and this, like whatever. So we cut the cake and served the cake. Like originally the plan had been come in while everyone is eating dinner. We'll come in, we'll eat dinner, and then we're going to do dances, cake cutting, toasts, knock it all out like as soon as possible so everyone can just enjoy the night. So I will say, I'm glad that I made that dinner playlist as long as I did. She used the whole thing. So like that cut into like, I guess some of the party aspect of it, but it was really fun. Like the toasts were really good. Christy did a bridesmaids callback, which was awesome, and played the Wilson Phillips song that we like to yell in the car, which was a delight and meant everything. And no one got it, but we did. Well, my friends got it, but yeah, it was lovely. Like it is very, very weird to sit in front of a whole room of people and have the people that you love say nice things about you. It is very trippy. It is nice though. It was very, very nice. So it was really cool. It was honestly like we could have just done it with everybody that was in the wedding party and been fine.
So we figured out something. So I literally started. So when it was time for speeches, it was kind of determined that I would be the first one. I'm like, okay. So I get up there to give this speech, and I pull out my phone, and just was like, really? off your phone. I'm like, what? Like,
Christy ran it off her phone, and so did Molly.
yeah. So there. But I
Not
literally
everyone's
started
crazy
off
like me.
like I start the show, and we talked about it. Me and Jen and Ray talked about it afterwards. Like, if we count this as technically being a show, since I kind of started it off as such, we like tripled our listenership. Like, this was fantastic.
It's a big deal.
And then we figured out, because Joseph's parents subscribed to us on the YouTube channel, we're like, we had our entire YouTube audience here.
Live event, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So maybe this should have been episode 163, and we should have counted that. But anyway, but yeah, so we give our speeches. The only thing I will point out is I did not know how one of the jokes was going to land, and turns out it landed really well.
Really,
Being in the Valley. Now, granted, the state of Texas has two football teams. They have the Dallas Cowboys and they have the Houston Texans, which used to be the Houston Oilers, and I think there's still a big rift about that. But anyway, so we're in the Valley, and I just made this offhand joke about how I thought I was a little smarter than Joseph. After all, he is a Cowboys fan, and they weren't necessarily boos, but you could hear the like, just like wrong crowd, and I was just like, oh man, that one didn't land. I had 5 or 6 people afterwards come up and say, that was a great speech. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about the Cowboys joke. They're like, oh no, I'm a Cowboys fan. I loved it. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess it did land. But that was the only part of the speech I was a little nervous about. I was just like, I don't know how this is going to land with the Cowboys jokes. But anyway, but that's the one dig I had to have one dig in there. I was too nice to you otherwise. Or not too nice, whatever. But yeah, no, the cake was great. The reception was awesome. The music, getting back to the music. So there was some traditional, or I say traditional, there was some I'm grasping at it. I'm trying to think of what music to say. Anyway, there would be some more traditional
adult
type.
Contemporary.
What?
There's adult contemporary.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's some stuff that you would expect to be played at a wedding, and then it literally is going through a roller coaster of just like imagine the 90s, and you just take the dial and you just keep spinning it, and it just keeps going. And everyone was just like, who picked this? We're like, it was Laney. It was Laney. I don't think Joseph had any word in it because, number one, there was no metal.
Like at all. I was waiting for some metal to show, but then yeah.
So
you want to say?
I got to pick a song.
I will say I only heard one song from Lou's playlist that he sent, that he prepared us for. So
true.
I was like, dude, I listened to that whole thing, and I only heard one song.
They didn't play as much like traditional like Mexican wedding music as we had asked for. So
I had to specifically go up there and tell her to play some Spanish music to get people dancing.
Yeah.
And then I did request the Ghostbusters song at one point in the night.
Well, and that was the other thing is like we had sent. I didn't want to be too insane about like you have to play this and you have to play this. I think I gave her like 5 songs that I wanted to hear, and mostly what we did were we told them like songs we didn't want to hear. Like I didn't need to hear any Bruno Mars. I didn't need to hear
No Chicken Dance.
No Chicken Dance. Like there's stuff that I was just like, I don't want this played at my wedding. Like I'm not into it. This is dumb. I don't want to do that. So, but like I had requested that I wanted to dance to Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing with Christy, and they didn't play that. Like, I know. It's some of it, I think we just ran out of time. I think had we had more time, it would have been a little bit different.
Yeah. So one other thing I've got to throw out there. So, I'm in a suit. I do not normally. Hell, I can't even tell you the last time I wore a suit. Like, I'm in a suit, and I still think I got ripped off for that, but whatever. But
I told you wear whatever you want. Joseph's the one that had rules.
It was when I rented this suit, it was $250 for the rental. For the rental, not even to keep the damn thing. But anyway, so I'm in a suit, and Joseph comes up to me. I think this was before everything started, or was it during the reception? And at some point, he comes up and he goes, "Hey, these are the envelopes that have different people's names on them, and it's got like, it's the caterer, it's the DJ, it's several different people. This is like a tip that I have for them. Can you hold on to it? I'll come get you when I need them. Cool. So I put them in my pocket, and throughout the night, no one ever, like, one person came to me about the tip for one person. I don't even remember who it was right offhand. I'm like, here it is. Give them the money. No one came up to me the rest of the night, and the night starts going on and on and on. And I pulled Joseph aside and said, "Hey, I still have all of these envelopes. Um, what do you want me to do with these?" And he's just like, "Well, those people have already left, and those people have already left." He's like, I wasn't gonna pay those people after what happened. He's just like, "I think you just saved me a bunch of money." I'm like, "All right, cool." So he was like, "I need you to make sure you get these two to these two people." And I don't remember who the one was, but one of them was the DJ. I'll take that back. One of them was the bartender. One of them was the DJ. He's like, "Please make sure they get their tips because they're doing a good job." I'm like, cool. So throughout the night, as things are closing up or whatever, I specifically walk up to these people and just with a completely straight face pull a envelope out of my pocket, hand it to him, go, "This is on behalf of the groom. He sends his regards." And I just walked off. In my most, mafioso style. And I was just like, that was fun as shit. I'm glad I did do that.
Anytime you can do something super godfathery, I love it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
This is the day of my sister-in-law's wedding.
Yes, exactly. So, originally I think we were originally told that we had the place until midnight, or we had to start wrapping up at 11.
We've always been told the party stops at 11. We have to be out by midnight.
Okay, so that's what we originally were told, right? So that's not how it went down, though.
Oh, that was the other thing. I would like to point something out. I originally hadn't really wanted a grand exit because I was like, for what? I want to be there till the end. But when they kind of talked me into it because of the video. One, I did a terrible job of getting those lights. Those lights were not big enough. They weren't. It's going to look wild in pictures. God only knows what it's going to look like.
Then we had to do it multiple
times. But I had this idea. I will say, I feel like I did a good job of not fully Disneyfying this wedding. I really did. Because I didn't want it to be silly and corny. I really did want it to feel really heartfelt and everything. But they told him, I was like, I have this idea that I think would be really cute for the end of the night. When they close down the Magic Kingdom, they play this thing called the Kiss Goodnight. And it's really sweet. It's really cute. I was like, I think that would be really fun to do our exit to. I said, and my friends will die. They'll think it's hilarious. And so our assumption was that because things had been moved inside, that maybe the DJ had a plan to take the stuff outside. She didn't. So no one could hear it, but I knew it was happening. So I was just like, okay, great. Let's get this done. I didn't even know, like, all of a sudden it was just like, you have to come outside because we have to do your grand exit. And I was like, oh, there was no car. Like, we had nothing. We had no plan because I didn't know it was happening. Like,
yeah, I remember us fighting with those lights to just get untangled, and it's like,
it seemed like a really good idea.
It wasn't quite Clark Griswold. Oh, there's not. Here, Rusty. It wasn't quite that bad, but
pretty much.
There was some struggling going on.
And then that's when Jesse slipped and tore his pants.
What?
Yes, right. It was right after that. That's right.
It was right after that.
So yeah, right after
standing, wasn't he?
The place where there was like where the groomsman was, right outside there was a slick area because Alex slipped and tore his pants too, and I didn't realize it until he was getting undressed, and I was just like, "You asshole!" I'm like, if I have to pay extra for this because when we turn it back in, I'm going to kill you. And sure enough, we didn't have to. So, but yeah, no, he slipped it. He tore the hell out of his pants too. It was not a small tear either.
I will say, yeah, after everything is said and done,
you're married. You're
married.
Woo!
And, yeah.
Thank God.
You guys pulled it off.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of all of it, it was nice to just be married.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, it is pretty cool. It's just,
but everyone's asked us the same thing. Like, so do you feel different? And I'm like, no.
and we've lived together for like 4 years.
Yeah. It is nice. It is really fun to be able to call him my husband. That's been really cool. Oh, also, we are officially married.
Oh, the thing when we forgot the marriage license. We had to mail it back to Texas. So Chad could sign it.
I just assumed that your mom would bring it, and in the 1,000,010 things that I was trying to keep up with that day, I just forgot.
Didn't somebody forget to sign it too?
Yeah, we had to send it to the officiants for him to sign it.
Chad has to sign it. We had already signed it, but Chad had to sign it, so we had to send it to Chad. Chad mailed it in, and now Christy has it.
Yeah, Christy has it?
Yes, it showed up here just the other day.
She goes, you have an envelope from the county clerk's office in, what's it called? What county? In Hidalgo County. And I was like, oh God. I was like, it's going to say, psych, you're not married.
Rejected.
Yeah.
So when we went to go get our marriage license,
it's concerning.
Yeah, it was super. Like, have you been married before?
No.
Are you related?
No.
We
could have been lying.
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Related.
Are you related?
Yeah.
The lady said that apparently just recently, like within the last 10 years, they stopped requiring a blood test to prove that you weren't related.
I mean, not recently, within the last like 20 years. Like,
wow.
Or more than 20 years ago.
But
they didn't have to get a blood test.
No, all we had to do was go down to the town office, declare that we weren't related, and had to
knowingly,
and then had to swear on a Bible that we were telling.
Did you really?
Yeah,
and then we did have to swear that we were not under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a thing.
Yeah, something like that. But it was a bunch of easy questions. You had to swear on a Bible that you were telling the truth, and then you have 3 months to get married.
Yeah. It took us longer to drive down there than it did to get the license.
Yes.
So y'all walking in there like halfway through, you're doing a sobriety test, like you're literally like doing you're like, yes, I can get married to this person.
I don't know what the shoebox money. I don't know.
What's her middle name? I don't know. Just fucking.
I
don't know. Oh, that's hilarious.
But I mean, shit, we could have just walked in off the street.
Yeah.
So, yes, technically, there's no reason, So
they don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, get married.
By the way, it's the same with the baby. They don't fucking care as long as you got a proper car seat.
Yeah, they're more worried about the car seat rather than whether you're good parents or not.
I know that. I deal with the effects of that every day.
Yeah. I feel there's like a flaw in the system there.
So, we thought we had more time than we did, and literally we're packing up stuff to get out of the venue as they are cleaning up. Like literally, like there's a point where Ray and I are carrying out. Y'all had so much alcohol. We are literally carrying out alcohol, and like there are people with brooms behind us, like literally like sweeping up as we're going. We're just like, all right, well, we're done here.
Pizza does not mess around.
They were giving us some dirty looks when we're still trying to get out of there. Like it was like, I'm sorry, we're trying. Anyway, we got everything out.
Well, the other thing is, I think that you and I were under the assumption that like we had time and that we were able to come pick up stuff the next day. Yep. And then that changed too.
Mm-hmm. I did have to buy off the maintenance crew by giving them my groom's cheesecakes.
Yeah. It was just a lot. Like it was a lot. It was, even with as much planning that as you and I did, there were still things that happened that I was like, oh shit. Like I didn't, because I remember asking about like cleanup and stuff, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Like, I really do think I really did try. I get frustrated with the way that everything turned out just because, like, I really did put so much time. So much thought and so much effort. And it really does sometimes just come down to, like, the whim of the person that's there that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, things just sort of change. I would like to go back and look at that contract and just see. Yeah.
So, I'm to the point after y'all's and several other weddings that I've been to, I'm to the point, like, if the boys get married, I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be that person, but literally as you're sitting there signing the contract, I'm going to pull out my phone and be like, all right, let's go through this. And I'm going to record you, you son of a bitch. Like,
well, so much of what we did, we paid extra because we didn't want it to be a do-it-yourself thing.
right.
We didn't want the bridal party to have to be there cleaning up at the end of the night. You know, we are appreciative. We are thankful that all of y'all helped and cleaned everything up. That was very nice. You did not have to do that.
Well, yeah, whatever.
But
it's family. You know, we were going to do
like,
it.
I know, but I just felt bad. So it was just a lot. I was at the end of the day, I was really thankful to just be married. But I don't know. Would you do it again?
I'd pay someone and just show up on the day of. Be surprised.
Like, literally, there was a thought in the back of my head. I was just like, because given the facts, it was like, well, we can't do it here. We can't do it here. There's not enough room. Blah blah blah. And I thought at one point, I was like, you know, if the outside is not going to work out, where else could we go? And I'm just like, am I really about to ask Joseph, hey, how crazy would it be for us to tell everyone, hey, grab everything, we're going to go find a mall, and we're literally going to fucking just like, what is it called when the people would just show up out of nowhere and just like
Flash
dance
mob.
or whatever? Yeah, we just flash mob a fucking mob, like a mall or some shit like that. Like, but it didn't have to be a mall. It could be something else. And I'm just like, where else could we go that maybe y'all would find it interesting or fun or whatever? And I'm just like, not a Walmart. That would suck. But like, just like show up and be like, nope, we're doing it here. So
you could have gotten married at the Taco Kitty.
there you go. Literally just rolled in there and been like, all right, we're having a wedding, so this is happening. As long as you bought food there, they probably would have been like, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
So
it would have been fine. But no, like I said, I think it was definitely a lesson in like the best laid plans. Definitely some things that I would change, but at the end of the day, to Joseph's credit, I think 3 days later, he and I sat down and like anybody that gets married, I highly recommend doing this. Everything is not going to go perfectly on your wedding day. It's just not. And there's a lot of push of like, well, you just have to get over it and let it go or whatever. I needed to talk about it. Because so much stuff was bass backwards. And I had all of these like undisclosed shitty feelings inside. And I needed to talk to him about it. Like I needed to sit down with him and talk to him about it because I was just like, if I sit here and pretend like I wasn't disappointed in some of the stuff that happened, it's going to literally eat me alive. And I'm going to be full of resentment and we just have to talk about it. And so we sat, I think it was before we boarded the plane to go home.
Yeah.
We just sat and we just talked for like an hour about like, I wish that this had happened and I wish that this had happened and I'm upset that this didn't go the right way. And it was like talking to him about it helped us both like kind of come to terms, I think, with the fact that like, because like wedding day disappointment is a real thing that no one talks about apparently. Like I have learned this just talking to other brides, but like to be able to sit down and talk about all the things that didn't go right that we were upset about made it a lot easier to talk about like all of the things that we were so grateful for. So it helped us, I think, be able to look back on it and have like a lot of appreciation for the stuff that did go right and a lot of appreciation for all of the people who did really go above and beyond. You know, like I don't think either one of us have ever felt more loved.
Yeah.
So, but no, I would not do this again.
Yeah, there's usually a couple things I tell. There's usually a couple things I always tell people who are getting married. Number one, wear comfortable shoes. Number two, you are not going to remember everything, so don't sweat the small details. And number three, something is going to go wrong. It might be a little thing. It might be, the flowers are the wrong color. I've never been to one of those weddings.
Or it might be record rainfall for the region.
Yes, that was one of the things your dad was telling us. Literally, he's like, they're saying outside of a hurricane, this is the most rain we've ever gotten this stretch of time. And we're just like,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, like it just, um, overall, yes, it could have been an absolute disaster. But your mom is a fucking MVP, Joseph. Like, just
Hell yeah, she was.
so.
Apparently, my mom was just behind her being her hype man. My mom was just like, yeah, like was just down.
I would have paid money for that. That would have been awesome.
But yeah, we really lucked out with everyone that was there. So, but I'm glad. I hate to say it, but I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad we don't have to keep worrying about it. It's just a lot. There's a lot of like stress that comes with it, and everybody jokes about it. But like, I don't know. I was talking to another couple that I know that's in the process of planning their wedding, and I was just like, if you are not a person that handles this type of stress well, if you are not a person who enjoys micromanaging everything, it's okay to elope. Everyone will get over it.
Yep.
They will, and if they don't, fuck them.
Yep,
that's
Then who
right.
cares? And that's the thing is, I think you and I both thought, just because I'm a teacher, that like I would really like do really well under this kind of stress. And I think we both learned that I can. So
the last thing I was going to say is the one regret I have is that we didn't hold Joseph down, get him down to his skivvies, and throw him in that pool.
honestly, at this point, I would have loved to see it.
He would have frozen his ass off. It would have been so cold.
It would have been great. Anyway.
Well, if there's nothing else anyone needs to add. Oh, so just to finish round about the rest of my story, the next day we had friends and family over because we were staying, and
Yeah, we came over too.
Yeah, which was nice because it was nice to hang out with y'all and kind of decompress or whatever. During that time period, the king size bed that I was sleeping in was broken by several little boys that. No, we promised we weren't jumping on the bed. Honestly, they could have probably just looked at it wrong and the fucking thing fell apart. But
let me tell you about the call that we got.
All right, go ahead.
So we were, me and Christy, and then Lou's wife, Cindy, we all went to get antojitos. We wanted snacks. And there was like a little spot down the way that we went. So, because I wanted to pick a deli, Christy wanted to pick a deli, like we wanted to go get some snacks. So we're there, and Christy just all of a sudden goes, "Oh my god, I guess Eugene had like texted her." And no, you didn't text her. Nick or Alex texted her.
Oh, that sounds
and was
about
like,
right.
I guess yes, text her this picture of this broken bed that says something about like, I guess we're not getting any allowance now, something like that. Just like, there goes all of our money. Something just so fucking Palmer of him to text. So it was hilarious. Chrissy's just laughing her ass off in the front seat. Oh my god.
Well, to be fair, I do threaten them with if you break or do something to so and so, you're paying for it. They know that is a thing for me. But yeah, we
that
checked
was
under
a way of telling on ourselves, like
yeah. We checked under. I can't remember if it was your mother's bed or if it was your grandfather's bed, but same thing. Like the center struts are already leaning one way or the other. I'm just like, this is just like a sneeze away from this bed falling apart or whatever. So when I told Christy, I was like, all right, so you need to make sure you tell this person who owns this Airbnb, number one of the electrical outlets doesn't work. Number two, no one was hurt on your crap beds. Thank goodness, and framed it that way just in case they wanted to try to say something. No one said anything. So I'm assuming they took it the way it was supposed to be that, listen, I understand it's an Airbnb. You're trying to make money on this thing, but you got to do something about these beds. This was shit. Like, so the next night, that last night that we slept there, Christy's like, well, how are we going to handle this? Because we can't really put the mattress back on. I'm just like, oh, that's easy. The boys are going to sleep in the broken king size bed, and you and I are going to sleep on the air mattress. So that's what we did. So anyway, but yeah, it's just weddings are. like I said, they're interesting. They never go exactly the way you want them to go. That one wedding we went, your cousin's wedding, we went down there, and it was outside. He was like, "Oh no, it's in the valley. It shouldn't be that bad." And it like Joseph and I were both fucking freezing.
Oh, I was huddled up between Eugene and Joseph.
Yeah, like I was cold. Of course, Christy's like, "You wusses, this is not that bad," and the Canadians would have been just like, whatever.
If I could have crawled into your suit, I would have. I was so cold.
Yeah. But yeah, something always happens. Like literally, we were having wardrobe malfunctions constantly at my wedding, and the fact that we had like 50 or 60 people we weren't originally planning on being there, and just stuff's gonna happen. So
yes,
it is what it is. But overall, I think it went well for what it was.
Listen, at the end of the day, it was beautiful.
Yes, it was. Oh, it was beautiful.
We had a lot of people there that we wanted there. We were very, I can't speak for you, but I think in the ceremony, I think I was really in the moment and really just soaked it all in. And it was nice.
I would agree with that statement. It was very nice.
So.
Yep. Well, if there's nothing else to add to that, I guess let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans. Would anyone like to go first?
I had one and I forgot it. Do me last.
That's what she said. I'll go first. I've got two real quick. Number one, I finally got around to seeing Black Panther today. What's interesting is I had a chance to go see a movie a week or so ago with Jennifer, and we ended up going to see Black Adam. And of course, now it's on freaking HBO Max, and I'm just like, I could have waited like a week and seen this, but whatever. But no, I went and saw Black Panther. The reason why we didn't see Black Panther is because she had already seen it, and she's like, she just recently lost her mom not too long ago, and was like, I can't do that movie again. And I understand why. It is a good movie. I enjoyed it, but I understand if you are in mourning of someone, might want to wait on this one. But it was a good movie. I did enjoy it. The other thing I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there, but I already know it's probably going to be Sean's pick. I started playing a game. Sean recommended a game, and Lewis jumped on and said, yes, absolutely. It's High on Life, right? It's from one of the, I can't remember which one of the guys, but it's from one of the guys that does Rick and Morty. Literally, there's Rick and Morty. Like, the boys were walking by as I was playing the voice. They're like, is that Rick and Morty? Just, they know, they've heard the voices from other stuff in there. I'm like, no, it's from the same people, but obviously. If you have Xbox, it may be on, is it on PlayStation as well?
I'm not sure.
If you can play this game, play it. It's a first-person shooter. There are 3 modes. There's, of course, hard, there's normal, and there's story mode. Basically, unless you just really mess up, you're not going to die. It's like, if you're just here for the story, this is the mode to play on. That's what I'm doing. I'm just totally here for the story, and the humor is, if you like Rick and Morty, you're going to like this game. If you don't like Rick and Morty, don't bother. But God, it is so funny. It's fun. It's a really funny game. The humor is very crass, very crude, but God, it's a fun game to play. So, John, next.
John.
I got a new kitten a couple weeks ago, Fry, and yeah, he's
very cute.
Yeah, he's a monster, but he's cute. And I started 3 weeks vacation.
Woohoo!
So nice, but the very first day, not half day, my oldest got positive on COVID, and my wife fucked up her knee, and yeah, it wasn't a real great start to the vacation. So, and then I've spent the last 2 days putting together furniture for my daughter for Christmas/birthday present. So like friggin' dressers and desks and I've been 3 days into it and I haven't enjoyed a freaking minute of it. So,
that'll change.
Yeah, I hope so.
Ray.
I've been on a bit of a creative kick. Got a bunch of stuff done and out of the way. So it's Christmas related for Logan's gift, because we do a make a gift as well as a bunch of other little things. So Yeah, I'm happy I'm on this creative kick. It's
Nice.
nice to get into it.
Good deal. Chris?
I'm just happy there's snow on the ground.
Woohoo!
I don't like this time of year. I hate that I do this. I wish it away because I really don't like the holidays. I hate them. So that's my pan. I'm real bitchy about it. I just don't like it.
We're gonna get a lot more snow, eh? We got a big one coming in.
See that. So I just like snow and winter. So yeah.
It snowed like 4 times before December, and then we barely got a dusting the other day, and then we got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I feel like I've been bamboozled by the state of Colorado.
Kind of sounds that way.
That in February.
Yeah, let us know in February how it goes.
Say that in February.
Yeah, that's not Christmas.
On Wednesday, it's supposed to be
like record lows.
-3 Fahrenheit on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then
it's like record lows for like the first time in like
the
30
high
years.
is like 8.
Yeah.
On Thursday.
That Wednesday night we're supposed to have a chance of snow.
There you go.
Guess what you need for snow though? Moisture.
What are you telling? I'm so pissed off. Oh my god. So stupid. But you know what?
It's not even melting. The snow is literally just evaporating in the air before
you
it
should
even
get a humidifier and put it out in your deck or something like that. Trying to moisturize the air.
Fantastic idea. Yeah, no snow, but just a shit ton of geese.
Oh, those are ours, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are ours, sorry.
Yeah. Those are cobra chickens.
Yes, they are.
For real.
Fucking sons of bitches.
Literally.
Lainey, do you have a picker pan?
I do. Do you want me to do? What are you going to do?
Not what you're thinking.
Oh, okay. So I have 2 actually. I have 2 picks and 1 pan. No, 2 picks, no pan. My first pick is Joseph and I recently watched. Joseph and I love a trashy reality series, specifically stuff where there's like a game element. And we were waiting on the new season of Too Hot to Handle to start, which has been incredible, by the way. But in the meantime, we found this show on Netflix. It's called Love Never Lies. It is apparently really big in Spain or in Europe or no, Spain. So all of the contestants are Spanish and speak only Spanish. So you do have to watch it with subtitles, but
she has to watch it with subtitles.
I have to watch it with subtitles. Oh my God. It is the most unhinged. Like, I don't even know if I fully understand how the game works because there's so many elements to it. Like, there's a lie detector. They split them up into different houses.
The basic premise is that you have these couples that have displayed that they may or may not have full trust in one another. And they sit them down and they ask them questions and they put these eye trackers on them. And depending on how your eye moves, you can determine if you're lying or not.
Which is pseudoscience.
But it will ask the question, like they'll be sitting there and they'll be like, you know, Ray, have you ever fantasized about having sex with your female best friend while Chris is in the room with you?
It's like
that's the
super specific questions.
Oh
and then
my God.
Like, see, or like, no. And then it'll tell you if they're lying or not. And then they like get like extra money if they're telling the truth. Yeah. Shit's wild. They split them up. They film everything, and then they'll like go to the person's significant other who's in the other house, and they'll like show them like clips of what's going on, and you can pay to see what they call like the premium version. It's insane.
They bring single people to tempt the people in the couples.
It is the wildest thing that Joseph and I have ever watched. So now naturally we are addicted to it.
Of course.
There was a lesbian couple on there, and one of the questions like, "Have you ever cheated on her with a man?" And
the girl was like, "Yeah."
Yes, dude, wild.
It is nuts. So that has been really fun. I'm excited for us to watch the other season that's on Netflix. So yeah, if you like trashy reality, give it a go. It's pretty great. And then the other one is, so obviously I love a theme park podcast. My personal favorite one is Podcast The Ride, and they are currently in the process of doing a limited Christmas series called Feliz Navidad, The Way of Winter.
No, Jesus.
And it's all Avatar themed, and it is so stupid, and I love it. It's literally like a failed bit that they had forever ago. I wouldn't call it failed. I would call it hilarious. That they had forever ago talking about these Avatar movies when the land was first being built. And they've done like an episode on one of the rides, and they were like, should we just do like a whole thing? So they announced it last month. They were like, it's coming. And it started on Wednesday, and I am like soaking it in. It is so stupid and so good. And I would like to point out that my only frame of reference for anything Avatar related is the theme park land. I've never seen the movie, have no intention of ever seeing it. Don't really feel like I need to. I think I prefer it as like an abstract IP that I like to pretend they just came up with. So fantastic stuff.
Or kind of like Song of the South, right?
No, this one is less awful in its racism.
Well, true,
and,
yes.
And mimicry and minstrelship.
Yeah.
So, which that's also happening. We're getting rid of Splash Mountain. We're getting Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's coming. I'm so excited.
Jesus.
It's going to be so good.
Joseph, what's your pick or pan?
Your turn.
I have two of them. Number one, God of War Ragnarok. It is fantastic. Better than the first, well, fourth one, depending on how you count. It is fantastic. I have put in, according to my PlayStation, 30 hours of gameplay, and I am 25% through the story.
Nice.
Are you coming home and doing it like while you're supposed to be at work?
Nope. But it is fantastic. The story is amazing. They've cleaned up a lot of the game mechanics. It's like they listened to every critique that the fans had for the first game and either got rid of or made better for this second game.
Nice.
So it's fantastic. Second one is we did our first like truly like Denver-y thing last night. So the Denver Zoo.
Date night.
The Denver Zoo opens at night, and they do the entire thing in Christmas lights, and then they have some exhibits open. So we got to see. We walked through. It took us 2 hours to walk through the zoo.
It's like a beautiful zoo.
It is themed, like when you walk into like where they have the Asian animals and the African animals. They have like themed lands. We got to see rhinoceroses.
I saw a rhino.
Elephants.
I saw a hippo.
Hippos, giraffes.
I saw an elephant from a distance because the line was very long, and he also looked like he was ready to go to bed. So
yeah, but like for only actually seeing maybe 5 animals.
Yeah.
River
otters.
We saw some river otters. It still took us 2 hours to walk through it. So the moment the spring rolls around, we're gonna go because it seems like a lot of fun.
It's so nice. But it is such a beautiful zoo.
Nice.
If you guys, Eugene, we were talking about last time. If you guys actually do come out here for one Christmas, they run it from December 1st through January 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
It's cheap, and it was a great experience.
So much fun.
Nice, cool.
A good time.
Yeah.
And it was so cold, and I'm so proud of myself. I dressed perfectly.
It was 2020, I think, last night.
I'm gonna send Chris a great picture. They're gonna be so proud of me.
But yeah, it was one of those things where we were talking about how it was really cool to do a Christmassy thing and it actually be Christmassy weather.
Nice.
So that was fun. So I like Christmas lights. Oh my God, I'll have to show you. If you look on my Instagram, they even like were thoughtful in how they like displayed the lights. Like they had little springbok lights, and the springbok actually jump. And then in the distance, you can see like the little lionesses that look like they're stalking them.
Yes,
like
I saw that.
On the savannah. I died. I was so excited.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. I was like, oh, that looks like a cool thing. So I didn't know exactly what y'all had done, but very cool.
So fun.
Well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. It will be our last episode for 2022. I know, right? Keep marching on. The further away we get away from 2020, the better. My personal opinion. As always, you can find us at Epically Geeky There you can find epicallygeeky.com. There you can find all the shows that we do, including the Marginally Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, and Creatively Geeky. I don't know if we're going to get any more episodes recorded of anything before the end of the year. I think we're all just kind of on cruise control at this point. So, which is fine by me. Yeah. You can also find us on all the social media that we do: Facebook, Instagram from time to time. That Twitter thing still seems to slowly but surely circling the train. And I'm not doing Mastodon or anything like. It's just I've gone on this rant before. Social media just does not work out for trying to promote a show. At least if you're trying to do it on the cheap. If I want to spend a bunch of money and boost stuff, yeah, sure, why not? But yeah, whatever. So let's talk about where we can find you online, Ray.
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, and then fixing everything on Wikipedia from Sean.
Chris?
All the shows you mentioned, and then Instagram at Moody Midlife.
Sean?
Your favorite broken toy on Instagram. Spelled the Canadian way.
Canadian way.
And yeah, for all you students out there, do not reference Wikipedia because you never know what I fucked up.
Joseph?
I paid someone to scrub the internet, so yeah.
Lainey?
You're so dumb. You can find me on Instagram at It's a Laney Bird.
And as always, you can find my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for everyone on the site. Have a good night.